A lot of the times when traveling around or speaking to many people, especially with this kind of look of being an Amritari Sikh, looking a bit different, people automatically assume that we've been at this our entire lives, right? Or even just following the path. But actually, for a lot of Sikhs today that I found, especially when I came into Sikhi about 6-7 years ago, a lot of Sikhs in today's world have only been Sikhi for a short period of time. And they've actually got a lot of history behind them, and a lot of things that a lot of experiences they've been through in their lives, and a lot of things that we can relate to as well. And that's why these podcasts that we've been doing for the past year with the Guru's grace, Guru Sahib's Kirpa, it's been really important for us to bring on certain guests, right, Rohanvir Singh, to tell their stories. And people were quite shocked. Even we were quite shocked knowing the kind of things that we found out from the podcast, right?
Yeah.
So with that in mind, we've got another guest today. We've got Rohanvir Singh on today. And we're going to go through a lot of different topics. But I think that's one of the first things I want to ask you is kind of like your journey to Sikhi, because again, like I was saying initially, a lot of people just assume that, oh, what would they know, right? They've been to Sikhi their whole life. They've not faced the same struggles that I faced, or maybe had the kind of questions. And I think a key word is doubt. Because I think we've all had doubts, and I've known you for the past, I don't know, about 3 years now, I think. And it's quite interesting because when we talk, you'll talk about, oh, I have this doubt, I've had this doubt. Well, and I think a lot of people can relate to that. So where would you want to start off, kind of thing? Maybe when you first came into Sikhi, or, you know, maybe your childhood, for example. Like, what was your childhood like, basically?
You know, even just thinking when you guys asked me last week if I want to do the podcast, one of the sort of apprehensions or concerns I had, I was like, what would I even offer? Like, these are like some really inspiring guests who may specialize in something and they can talk about that topic. But I think, and then the Starji's Gatha after Santhia on Tuesday,
Yeah.
he said, I don't remember the exact Bangati, but the English translation was that the Murak, he looks beautiful while his mouth is shut.
Yeah.
And you only realize a Murak is a Murak when he starts speaking.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, these have asked me to do a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a Murak and I might be speaking for an hour and a half. People are going to realize I'm a bit of an idiot. But yeah, I mean, the reason then, even though I had doubts, and I think I was trying to worm out of it this week as well.
Like, you tried, but it didn't work.
It didn't work, yeah. Because I think Bowenvid was, my brother, but yeah, Bowenvid was saying as well, like, my journey, it hasn't, the word we sort of both said actually was that it's been quite non-linear. There's been a lot of peaks and troughs. And if one person just resonates to that and realizes that, you know, coming from maybe a Monna background or a different background, and then when they see, like, maybe they might see my Instagram or see me and like, yo, he's guest, I know he's Amritani now. And they might think it's just roses and flowers from there, Hana. And it's like, you know, and what that's good about it is the grass is greener on the other side, but there are a lot of struggles. And I thought, you know, if I can share my experiences and that keyword, I think even in my head was thinking, yo, what would these not even like title this this podcast with me? And it might be one of the keywords that came in my mind. And whenever I was talking to you guys about the journey, or even when we sort of went through the trail, you could say, doubt seems to be quite prominent whenever I've spoken to you lot in my journey. But yeah, I mean, in terms of, I've already started waffling, but your question about childhood. So, Mara's Kirpa, very blessed. My mum has always had a lot of prem and sharda for Sikhi. I think that also stems from her upbringing. My Nana ji was, I think he used to do Panch Granthi Nityanim. I'm not sure if it was Gant, but like he was like amazing Gursikh, huh?
For those that don't know what Panch Granthi Nityanim is, very simply, it's about reading about 3 hours of part in the morning, right? Your Sukhuni Sahib, your Asa Ki Wad, Dakni Onkar, and Bhavanakri, etc., like Japji Sahib, etc., these kind of bani.
There's actually a funny story. Is that my Bibi actually taught me Mool Mantar when we were younger. And I think every family's got this where I like an Akhand Path at home or something. You know, the little kids will stand up, do Mool Mantar.
Yeah.
Me, my older brother. So like, yeah, so we had some knowledge of Sikhi, because I was a bit slow, and my brother obviously picked up quicker. My older brother, my Bibi was like, "Oh, I'll start teaching you like Panch Bodhi of Japji Sahib," but I was like just on Mool Mantar because a bit slow. So yeah, and I remember a funny story with my nana actually, because we used to go, again, feel very blessed. We used to go to India pretty much yearly when we were younger, because obviously mum's side, Nanake, a lot of our family's still in India, Hana. Sapa Jandesi, and I remember reading Mool Mantra to my Nana ji. I was like, yo, like proper like gas, like yo, I can read Mool Mantra to him. And he was just like, because obviously he had taken Santhia as well, he was correcting pretty much everything I said.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yeah, allow it. I just walked away and I was like, yo, this is just long. But I think the point is that my mum had shouted them playing for Sikhi. I think that stemmed from my Nana ji. And even my mum, she tells me now, like, reminds me of some of the good Sikhs we know, that she said when she used to whenever there was a program in the Pind, she'd go. And she said that like my nanny ji would just like troll her a bit and say, "Oh, you just go just for the langar and that. You're not even that on it. You're not going for the Sikhi. Tu ta langar le jandi."
Yeah.
Everyone just laughs about that because it's like sometimes even parents don't understand. Like my nana ji did, but she's like, sometimes I feel like even my nanny ji, she didn't get it. Like I was just like my mum just loved it. So mum had blame, and I think she tried her best. She tried her best to instill that in us. So I think you can coin the term Sunday Sikhs. So weekly we would go. I think that started to trail off a bit because I still am play a lot of sports and that. So that would the weekend would just be taken up by that. And us Saturday.
What sports would you play?
So I'd play Saturday. I'd play I'd either have cricket nets or a cricket match, and then Sunday would be football. I was playing football. I was doing both at a young age. And then so yeah, mum tried to. I remember like just little sucky. I didn't know. I even asked my mum actually. I was like, "Mum, I'm going to do this podcast." First I was like, "What do you think? Should I do it?" She goes, "Yeah, why not?" Like she's obviously not just supportive in that, and she thinks I'm alright, so I can say some good stuff. So mum said,
I'm gonna ask her this next time I see her.
yeah, you could confirm with her. So I didn't know this, but she actually used to read Sohela to me and my older brother.
Sohela Sabi in the nighttime.
Yeah, before we slept, she'd read. Obviously, I wouldn't know this. I would probably knock out because I sleep quite quickly, so I probably didn't even get past the start. Yeah. So yeah, she said she did that, and I do remember mum in our box. Mum used to read Sukhmani Sahib part, especially on Sundays. I knew she would do it, and sometimes I'd sit with her. So maybe there was like again these things that were kirpa, but you don't realize it at the time. Maybe now, a bit older and a bit more into Sikhi and having a bit more knowledge about Sikhi, you realize, yo, these stuff were like major blessings, even though we weren't practicing. Maybe it took time for that. Like I think the economic term is the trickle down effect. Maybe we didn't get the immediate effect straight away, but somewhere down the line, myself, my brother, even my older brother, he's not a practicing Gursikh, but like I think I was telling you, like in GCSE years and stuff, when me and Pavan didn't even have much interest in Sikhi, he used to go up Amrit Vela Park Avenue, and I was like, yo, like that's mad, So there's definitely some asar from parents, and my dad has been he's not a practicing Sikh either, and he has a not love-hate relationship, but I think his blame has also wavered for Sikhi. I know maybe times where he said even bigger doubts than me, just in God, but he's had a lot of kirpa in his life. My dad's had a lot of dukh in like his childhood and stuff, and got massive props to my dad. But so I think I told you guys the story. Okay, my dad had bad arthritis, and he really loved football, So at a young age, he was in a wheelchair. His arthritis got that bad. And Jathedar Mohinder Singh Ji saw them, and they just put their hand on my dad's head, from what I recall. I'm pretty sure this is the story. And he didn't sit in a wheelchair after that day. Once.
Wow.
And Sant Ishwar Singh Ji Rara Sahib Wale gave my Bibi a Shabad to read. So I mean, there's not much more blessings you can get, like that's especially in our generation.
Yeah.
Very blessed, So I said on God asked me one time actually a couple of weeks ago. He said, like, because I told him these things. He goes, "Oh, does your dad like obviously your dad's not practicing, but does he realize like that these things are like big blessings?" And I actually asked my dad, I said, "Dad, you know this stuff, like, this isn't like just, the average Joe has these sort of experiences or is that blessed, And he goes, "No, I do realize. Yeah, I do realize." It's like, I don't think he realized the extent of it,
Yeah.
Like being in Sikhi, and when you hear the Sakya about other Gursikhs, and when you know what these Gursikhs done, it's like, wow, man, it's like
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head earlier about the trickle-down effect, because like you're saying, when you are a child and you're exposed to all these things, even at the Mool Mantra, right? And for those who don't know what the Mool Mantra is, we've all probably said it before, Ik Oankar, Satnam, Karta, Purkh, etc., right? So it's almost as like we're planting a seed inside us, right? And sometimes we expect it to like just grow that flower, that tree, wherever it is, to grow straight away. But it could take somebody a few years, it could take them a few months, it could take somebody else many, many years, right? But I think the main thing is that something was like almost planted in you right there. And it kind of brings up the question about, not a question, but the vichar on parents and what important role parents play in Sikhi, right? And I'm sure for you definitely say, from especially what you're saying to me now as well, that your Mataji, your mother, played a key role in your Sikhi. And it was like, what I know from your stories, like your Mataji was the only practicing Sikh in the house for X amount of years, if I'm correct, right?
In the house, yeah.
And that had an effect to the point now where you and your brother are Amritari, right? Now you're practicing Sikh. So it almost shows that, a lot of people to come to us and they ask questions about, like, I'm the one practicing, what about my partner or my family? But if you just make that change yourself, you're going to have such an effect on your family just for your actions.
Hanji.
And I would say this, not in all cases, maybe like 90%, yeah, just for your actions. You don't really have to say anything. A lot of times people might go home and they start preaching to their family. I would say 90% of the cases, sometimes it works, right? You may say something, but generally, if you just live the life, your actions are going to speak for themselves, and then they'll become a bit curious and they'll start asking you questions. Like I'm sure you probably started doing yourself with your brother when he came to Sikhi before you or your mother, and then people start learning as well. So I'd say that for you was probably a key point as well, with your mother practicing Sikhi.
Massive. And being in Sangat, I don't think that's a unique story, Hannah.
Yeah.
Like, even Gursikhs, we know there's probably loads. I can already think on top of my head 5, 6, 10 people that it just took one person to start keeping case or start having an interest in Sikhi, and naturally the effect and the obviously I don't need me to tell the Panktis, but the Chandan Pankti, Hannah.
Yeah.
Just that fragrance, if you start living it, and that fragrance will spread to others as well, Hannah.
Hanji.
And yeah, it definitely happened in our household, and yeah, mum had a major role for sure.
And just one point I wanted to make, that you made a really good point about it's not a linear journey, it's a non-linear journey. So like we have this expectation nowadays that everything's going to go straight like an arrow, right?
Yeah.
But that's not the case. You're going to have ups and downs in life.
Yeah.
So we should maybe expect that. And then we should understand that that's just part of the journey. Everyone has it, even Amritaris, non-Amritaris, right? So if you don't mind, maybe give some examples of like what doubts did you go through, and then how did you overcome them?
Even before the doubts, though, the non-linear journey sort of thing, like I didn't even remember this, and I think a lot of the people that we're close to don't even know. But I was actually started keeping my case for like 6, 7, maybe 8 months when I was in like year 3, year 4. And I think that just prompted from like a RE lesson. I think the RE lesson is just talking about nishanis of being a Sikh, and I was like, damn, I've only got a kala. I've got one. And I came home and I was like, Mum, so how would people know we're Sikh? And I think or Sikh, and I think then I started keeping my case. And then to be, it's crazy because at that time, like, I don't. It wasn't a banter way, but like my dad would like banter me a bit. He's like, "Yo, people are gonna call you," because he obviously had his case when he was young. He's like, "Yo, people are gonna name call you, gonna call you top knot, this that." And at the time, it didn't affect me because I just know my dad's a bit of a troll. Even at a young age, I was just like, "Oh, he's just trolling me, and just bantering." Yeah. So, but I don't know why. And even my nanny came specifically for the reason to start tying a gutti on me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know. So we called my nanny. I was like, "Yo," my mum was like, "Everyone's gonna keep his case. Can you come?" And she was like, "Ah, cool." And on that as well, actually. So now I can speak quite decent Punjabi. Mara's good, but I can read and write because of Santhia. But my nanny, when I was like 5, 6, I would just, whenever she'd come, I'd just talk to her in English. And she went to my mum and she goes, "Listen, minnu nahi aide kaate baate samjhande ye, and Punjabi sikhao." Because I was always mad close to my nanny, but I couldn't talk to her. But I was just like, "Yo, nanny, I went to school and then Jamal did this." And she was like, "What? I don't know what you're on about." So yeah, but what were we talking about before?
Non-linear.
Non-linear. Yeah. So I started keeping my case then.
Yeah.
But didn't keep it for some reason. I genuinely can't tell you the reason why, but I bottled it. I cut my hair. I'm not sure I stopped eating. And this is the weird thing when I think about it now. At that time, even like people, elders that I respected, like, "Oh, but like me, you play sport. How are you going to be strong?" And like when I compare that to the reception I received or the reaction from people close to me when I started keeping my case in final year of uni, it's like it's stark contrast. Everyone was so supportive. Like even though you don't need the support or the not recognition, but you don't need the support of outside people, and I guess you don't need it, but having that from people who aren't even Gursikhs or practicing Gursikhs, like my close friends, one of them is Amrit, the rest Punjabi background, but not really practicing Gursikhs. They were all like, yo, that's amazing, bro, like really supportive. And I think that really helped. I don't know why Mara did it anyway. We can't like guess Mara's exit, but like it's very weird. I found it very weird that. And then like there wasn't as much positivity. My mum was obviously solid. She was like, yeah, do it, wicked. But maybe the rest, like I didn't receive that warmth that I received this second time, and I think that meant a lot to me. And then even keeping gears, like, and talking about the seeds. So I mentioned we'd go India pretty much yearly, Christmas holidays and stuff. And I would, I don't know what the jar was or why, but I would, there was one year that we went and I said to my mum, yo, let's go Guru Card every day. And there was a local Guru Card in our Bend. And I was like,
go to the sub every single day.
I was like, yeah, let's go every day while we're on holiday. I was like, yeah, I'll even walk it. Like, I don't know why, what the jar was. It wasn't even like a specific kirtan or katha or prachar, but I just enjoyed it. Like there was definitely some sort of prem or sharda there, but then it's weird because then after that, I can talk from that to then maybe 14, 15. Sikhi wasn't much prevalent in my life because I wasn't doing the Sunday Sikh stuff. I wasn't going much. Mum, again, talking about the seeds mum planted, she used to ask us, or strongly ask us, to encourage us to do Mool Mantar every day before school, even if it's the 27 mala.
Okay.
So the small one, she said, no, even if it's just 10 minutes, to do Mool Mantar mala every day, Hana.
Yeah.
So just to give a bit of context, because people might not know, when you were around this age, you were a bit of a lad, right? You were like, you were munna, you were just like chilling and all that. So maybe just give a bit of context.
So, I mean, Maharaj Kirpa, I didn't get into like drinking or smoking or like any of that. I never had any itcha for that or any real desire. I don't know if that's like from seeing like people close to me. I've seen the damage alcohol consumption or any of those sort of nashe can do. I've seen it firsthand, and it put me off massively. So I never had any itcha to touch it, and I see that as a major blessing because I've seen people who get into it, even if they say it's social drinking, getting out of those circles and those habits and unlearning those habits are very, very difficult. So like when when talking about like, oh yeah, come on, talk about your journey. And I hear some people have mad journeys. I was doing this and then I gave up this. I was like, yo, I didn't even. Like Mara's kid, I didn't have to give up many things or like make wholesale changes, I guess, because that's a whole different lifestyle, and I think it's can be quite a dark hole sort of thing. Like the deeper you get into it, it's harder to get out, So yeah, I was my friends would drink. I'd still socialize with my friends and drink. I wouldn't drink. My friends who did drink, I'd socialize with them, go out and stuff. But I never had much interest in it. Like my ideal, like of a Friday night or a Saturday, would be like chilling with the lads, maybe playing Bubby and that. Couples have some tunes on in the background, and just like FIFA and stuff. So I don't know, like not the Jack the lad. Like, oh yeah, let's go out for a party, let's do this. I never had much desire for that. Even at uni, like I'd be one of my good friends. Even if we'd had to go because it's like someone's birthday or something, we'd look at each other about half hour and be like, "Yo, should we just go?" And we'd go. So luckily, I never got into those habits. I never had a real itcha for that. Just to like paint the picture of me in those years.
So then, following on from that, so you talked about kind of like a young age where you used to go to the Gurdwara Sahib every single day for that short period of time, and then you kind of just fell back into normal habits of like a standard teenage Punjabi kid, Punjabi Sikh kid, you could say, right? Then you said that you tried to keep your hair when you was younger, but that didn't work out. And then you actually kept it later on. So how old were you when you started keeping your gears the second time? Gears means uncut hair for anyone that doesn't know. And what was the story behind that then?
I think just one more quick thing, just to show that how like for that maybe that gap in my year, that period there wasn't much Sikhi in my life. I remember vividly one story. So like saying mum would encourage us to go to Gurdwara every week. And if not, like definitely major purabs, like at the New Year. And then I remember us being like, "Mom, now we'd rather like make some lamb chops and stuff like bangada. We'll call like our like family friends around." Like that was my idea of a wicked New Year's Eve. And I remember one story. There's a Nagar Kirtan, and we'd always go, always pakka, no matter what, we'd go, yeah. And for some reason, I didn't. My dad didn't go. My mum was going. And I was playing FIFA. I remember it so clearly. It's crazy. I remember I was playing FIFA, just career mode and that. And my mum was like, Rohan, Tawanani. I hadn't got ready and stuff. I was just in my PJs chilling. And it must have been the Easter holidays, in April,
Yeah.
because I was like, Mum, no, I'm just chilling. I was like, around there. And I remember she just looked at me and she didn't say anything. And that's like, it just shows like, and I remember that disappointment. And just for me, it's just like, thinking about that now to my story, like, it's mad how those dips or that in that journey, it's not like there's always been mad prem, like there's some people who've always had mad prem and it's been consistent and it's been there. And for me, like, it did definitely, like, I'm just, oh yeah, religion's cool and stuff. I believe in God, and in times of dukh, maybe I'd like pray, or like when the exams are coming, or like, yo, God, can you sort me out, please? Yeah. So, and then yeah, like you said, when I did start keeping my gaze, the backstory behind that, I think, like we were saying, I didn't have much Amritari circles or practicing Gursikhs in my friends or family, but one of my good friends from high school, he started keeping his gaze, and naturally the question came, like, bro, what was wrong with life before? Is it not that then, like, there has to be something wrong for you to make a change, but it was like, what's prompted this change, Hannah? So I used to do Vijard with him, and maybe attend Gurukar with him, like, to some of the programs, because it started like building an interest and stuff. And my younger brother, after we went Hemkund Sahib, actually, so this was been 2009, he started keeping his case. So we had he was keeping his case, but he wasn't really practicing Sikhi, I think would be fair to say. I don't think he'd get annoyed about that. He wasn't really practicing Sikhi, but he was case studying our Patka vegetarian and stuff. But it was mainly, I think my friend from high school, I think he also had quite an influence on my younger brother as well. Because he had like a partner to go with, and if I would say no, I'm not going, not into that, you could just go with my best mate. And I think I asked him a question. I remember this vividly. So we're going in a car journey, and I said to him, bro, like, what's the, you know how he'd coined the term now, Dil Saaf? I was the Jathedar of Dil Saaf gang. I was like, bro, like,
Dil Saaf meaning clean heart?
Yeah, clean heart. I was like, yo, bro, like, why do you need to do this religious stuff? Like, surely just being a good person, maybe doing seva, that's enough. Like, why do you need to do this? Like, what's the garden? What's the reason? And he goes, and I think he didn't realize the level or the paradigm I was looking, or the lens I was looking at the world through. Because he was like, bro, like, this is all Maharaj's kid. This is a play. And I was like, play? He's like, bro, this is a game, bro. None of this is even real, bro. And I was like, yo, it looks pretty real. What do you mean it's a game? And I didn't get it at all. I didn't understand what he was what he meant. But there's still the Vijard, like, just having that Vijard, and some of the conversations I had with him, it was very interesting. And his older brother as well was also keeping his case at the time. Just like, again, even if it's not an immediate effect, there was definitely some asr in those conversations, I think, Hannah.
Yeah.
And then what changed? I think, this was a big point actually. In first year of uni, so that was around sixth form time, my good mate started keeping his case, and we'd like just conversations and stuff. And like sometimes we'd see, like, we'd do a link up, and he said, yo, lads, I'm just going to go like do my part or whatever. And like, just like, yo, you sort of respect that. You know how you're saying you don't need to, by Jagraj Singh's quote, you don't need to sell Sikhi, you just need to tell Sikhi. And like you saying, sometimes you don't need to just shove Sikhi down people's mouth. When they just see it and they see the effect, they naturally, the itcha or interest will grow. And just seeing that, I was like, yo, like, he'll allow all the games and stuff, and he'll be disciplined enough to say, yo, I need to do this. And there's a respect element, I think. And even if you're not doing anything, wow, man, like, rated. And just even hearing him doing his part, I was like, yo, that's nice. So yeah, he's got a good part voice. He'll never say it. But yeah. And then the big changing point in uni first year, there was a module I was really struggling with. And I said to my mum, I was like, Mum, I'll tell you straight. And through studies and stuff, I was always pretty solid, to be fair.
What did you study at uni? And where did you go for uni as well?
Economics and politics, and I went Uni of Leicester.
So you lived out?
I lived out, yeah.
For how many years?
3 years, all 3 years I lived out.
And you was Monna when you went to uni?
I was Monna, yeah. So but everyone thinks that's like, hey, Agyasi, uni life kanu. But not really. Like, I didn't really do, like, not the uni life. Yeah, a little bit, maybe. But it was nice. I think if for anyone who's like younger than that, I think even if you're not going there for coining the term uni life, that stereotype, I think I highly recommend you live out, because I think you grow a lot. That independence, I think, especially Punjabi boys, Punjabi mums pamper us a lot. We get a lot, like, just given to us khana, kapde, like, washed, ironed, everything. Going uni, I was like, Mum, how do I wash this? Yo, do I need to separate? What about the dryer? Like, I'm going to the laundry, like video calling her, and then you realize, and then it's like, yo, I've not cleaned. I've just got a little studio flat or little halls, and my room's so ganda. It's like, yo, like mum has to look after the whole house, and I think that sense of maybe independence, but it's a bit of a reality check again. Like paradox, your lens you look through. I think for me anyway, I've appreciated my mum so much more after uni. Then I'd come home and I'd be like, do the Hoover. Why are you doing this? I was like, oh mum, you're wicked, man. I like give her a hug.
You're gonna make me look bad, bro.
No, bro. She'll say this and say to hunta kardani or whatever. So yeah, she gave me good kasab with Japji Sahab. And one side was the Romanized, as I said, I could speak Punjabi, couldn't read or write it. One side was the Romanized English transliteration, and the other side was the English translation. And I think at this sort of age, 16, 17, I think, do you guys remember like Tumblr? Do you remember Tumblr, like the quotes? Like everyone, I think woke culture sort of began then. Like everyone used to try to get like a really cool quote and like post it on their Facebook or their Insta, like something deep. And so I was like, I found those things quite, maybe inspiring. Like, these quotes like about life, because there's a lot of gyan out there, like, and it relates a lot to Sikhi as well. So there's this Lao Tzu quote. Yeah, I might get this wrong, but I remember it was watch your thoughts because they become words. Watch your words because they become actions. Watch your actions because they become habits, and watch your habits because that becomes your lifestyle or your personality. And the same with Sikhi. You got to watch your foreigner. You got to think about what you think about. Those man bachkaram, then you got to think about you got to think deeply, So I was quite into quotes and stuff, and I was reading even just I know a lot of people say, oh no, the English translation, like, stick their nose up at it. But for someone who's not in Sikhi and doesn't know even the basics of Sikhi, the English translations are massive for me anyway. Because I was reading it, I was like, yo, this is deep. And I think Darshan Benji said it as well. Sikhi, I think a lot of times Sikhi comes at people. Did she say when you're at your lowest or when you're in dukh? That's when you sometimes prompt change. I think she said maybe in one of the podcasts. Yeah. And I think that going through dukh at those times, and it's like, yo, even sometimes now, I'm not saying hukum is a very tough concept to grasp, but I think having that Sikhi lens and that aspect of it and sort of saying, we can't even control this, so just leave it to Maharaj. Having that acceptance, it built haunsla for me, especially in times of pain. Yeah. And I'm reading just the Japji Sahib translations, and I even saw him when I was I think then I put Appe Bij Appe Hi Ko in as my WhatsApp DP. It's like, yo, that's deep. Yeah, what your input is your output, sort of thing. Even just on a basic level, even if you don't understand the true art of it and you're not listening to katha of it, just the Romras is like, yo.
Isn't that stereo DP?
That's deep. Now
it's another punkti, right?
It's Hum Admi Ha. I saw the bindi on it. So Hum Admi Ekdami Mahat Na Jana. And that was from Bhai Jagraj Singh's final speech.
What does that mean?
We are the English. Got next to you, bro. We are human beings of the briefest moment. We don't know our appointed time of departure. And for me, this is after a time when I started reading 7 Habits of Highly Effective People book as well. And I had quite often, when we talk about times of doubt, I would watch the Bhai Jagraj Singh final speech. I wasn't there, but I'd watch the final speech. And it would always give me haunsla. The why of Sikhi. It would remind me why I started, or why I started keeping my case. And I always find that video so inspiring, man. I remember I think the first or second time I was just in my room in tears because it's so. And I recommend it to everyone. Anyone who's not watched the final speech, whether you're Munna, Amritari, looking to keep case, that final speech, the why of Sikhi, legacy. And that quote really resonated with me because it's true. We end up prioritizing these things that aren't that important to us. You don't know when you're going to leave, So make every breath. You don't know your appointed time of departure. I remember when I started work, I was showing Gordy this quote, yo, bro, you don't know when we don't know when we're going to go. And they'd be like, yo, why are you showing me that? That's a deep thought. But I think that for you, that makes you realize every day, every minute, every second. I don't live by it. I should be doing a lot more. But it's a good reminder, Make the most of the time you have here.
And that wasn't the first video you saw, right? Like before, you weren't really into these religious videos.
No, I wasn't. So, mum gave me the good card. That definitely had us. And I remember even asking her, Mum, does it matter what time I read this? I'm a bit busy. I might wake up late. Does it have to be in the morning? She's like, look, don't worry about any of that. Read it. Like, there'll be enough Gurpa. And she was right, man. Like, just reading the English translations was a lot of Gurpa. And then, I started going to Divan's English translations again, like just reading it, thinking, yo, that's deep. Like, I remember now Divan, Tere Governor Gun Kahe Gava, Tu Sahib Guni Nidan. I was like, whoa, it's just mad. There's so much mad stuff. I think there's another one as well. Jeva Ek Governor Gun Kahe. Whoa, like, I don't know. It's just used to find that. Even now, I remember these certain Divans and certain panktis, and it was just like mind blowing, huh?
Just for those who don't know what they mean, the first one just saying, how can I speak about your praises or your quality? Sorry, you are like this great ocean. You're so deep. And the second one is Jehva ek governor guna kahiye. I only have one tongue. How can I sing all your praises? Right. So just for anyone who's listening, who's thinking, what are you guys talking about? Anji, carry on. Ji.
And even simplistic meaning. So like I was saying, my younger brother, he was starting to gather more interest in Sikhi as well. I think we sort of at the same time when I started keeping, it's definitely when I said to him I'm going to start keeping my gaze. He said this to me. He goes, that inspired me to actually, because he goes, I was quite tilla. He goes, that inspired me to actually do more. I remember, so I don't know if it became like, he thinks it's a competition thing that I started like memorizing, remembering Pankatiya to just like test him. He thinks that. I don't know if I did. Maybe I did. But I used to say to him, like, if he'd start like cussing to him, I'd say, bro, hum nahi change, butha nahi kohi. I was like, yo, like
that means I'm not good and nobody's bad.
And even that, so like even that is such a deep concept, huh? Like even the most simplistic of meanings, you can get that from the English translation. It's like that is deep, yeah. Like, and talking about paradigms, just I'm gonna talk about the 7 Habits book quickly, and like there's just stuff that started reinforcing my Sikhi. And there's a Sakhi story in that book. He talks about the lens you see the world through, and seeking first to understand and then to be understood. So there's a story where in the subway, the author, Stephen Covey, wicked book. He says, I was on the subway in the early morning around 9 a.m. Yeah. He goes, I'm just thinking about the work, my day ahead, my work. He goes, there's a man who comes on the train at the next stop or the subway. And he goes, his kids are just hysterical, making loads of noise, just being like, just fully out of control. And he goes, in my mind, I was thinking, and we probably would be the same. We'd say, come on, man, control your kids. Like, swear, like, you might be like, yeah, bro, I'm praying, man. Come on, man. Like, sort your kids out. And after 5-10 minutes, they continued. And he said to, and he's trying to read a newspaper. So he said to the father, he said, look, bro, don't you think, it's really early in the morning. Don't you think you should maybe control your kids? And the man said, sorry, we've just come back from the hospital. Their mothers died, tragically. He goes, I don't know what to say. I'm still digesting it myself. I don't know what to say to them. And then he goes, in that instant, my paradigm, the way I viewed the whole situation, the paradigm shift, it's quite simply just means the lens you see the world through, Hannah. He goes, in that moment, I had so much anger, so much growth, that I was thinking, this guy, what are you doing? But we don't know people's situation, Hannah. We don't know what people are going through. We don't know their ihtiyas. We just see uttra. We just see their actions. And like for me, like again, it's like, we're so quick to judge people, Hannah. And I've gone off on a bit of a tangent here, but it's just like reading these quotes, even if it was in English translation, seeing these and reading the Gutka Sahib, I think like it really helped the paradigm with the lens I saw the world through. And it definitely, and then again, talking about like hukum, being able to accept these things and saying, and again, in the book, he talks about, Mano spoke about this in the podcast last week, your circle of influence versus your circle of concern. So some things you just have to accept, like Maharaj. I can't have direct influence on that, Hannah. So that's in my circle of concern. What I can do is focus on my circle of influence. Maybe whatever you're going through in your own mind state, you can't maybe directly affect the situation, but maybe by doing your meditation practices, doing your simran, doing your part, just to keep you in like mental equilibrium, and then just leave the rest to Maharaj. I think getting that, not understanding, because it's still something, it's not like, something bad, bro, yeah. Maharaj is like, it's not like you accepted that easily, but you just start to even grasping that concept. Okay, chalo theek hai, maybe that's just how. And another cool story, actually, sorry, about like, because this concept of destiny is very hard, and especially you have a lot of these debates. I'd say if you're in a non-Gursikh parvar, my older brother would say sometimes like, bro, you man even pray so much, but look, this has happened or that has happened. Like, what's the point of it then, Hannah?
Yeah.
And there's a really cool, I sent it to you guys, it'd be really cool if Basics do more videos like this. But by Jagraj Singh tells that Sakhi of the man the Gursikh, who goes to, I think goes to see Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and I think he's like a sevadar, Hannah, like regularly goes to the Guru Kar often, and one day he takes his friend to the Guru Kar, and his friend is engrossed in, like a calm, and like he's doing bad stuff, but one day he takes his friend to the Guru Kar, and then on the way back, the regular Gursikh who goes to Guru Kar often, who took his friend, on the way back he stubs his toe on something. I shouldn't have done that. He stubs his toe on something, yeah, and he's really hurt. He's pricked his toe. He's really hurt his toe,
On like a thorn.
on a thorn or something. And his other friend on the way back, even though they went Guru Kar, the next day, so on the way back, he went to a prostitute's house or something, And the next day, the Gursikh asked Maharaj, he's like, yo, I've been doing your seva for so long. I come Guru Kar, I'm like, I don't engage in these things. I don't do these bad things, shall we say, yeah, bad, good or bad, yeah. Because this guy's come Guru Kar once, on the way, even after visiting the prostitute's house, the next day he found a pot of gold. And so we think, if we do good things, we should be getting good. So he had that same question. And now this guy's doing bad, but he got good. I got, for my troubles, I got a prick on my toe. And Maharaj said, look, in your destiny, you was meant to have a way worse accident. I think you said you could have died or something. You were meant to have a really fatal accident. Tu shukr karke, you just, this prick on your toe is minor. And then he asked the friend, he said, when you looked at that, I shouldn't know, Maharaj didn't say yo. He said that pot of gold, was you meant to, was there anything else in there? And the Gursikh's friend said, yeah, there was like a lot of ash, like a lot of black mitti or ash. And Maharaj said, you was actually meant to get a whole pot of gold. Those gold coins, that mitti, those were gold coins that have been burnt because of your bad karam. You only got that one gold coin.
Yeah.
So
these stories must have had like a big effect on you then, right? When you was
massively, especially when I've had doubts and stuff.
Yeah.
Even when becoming case study and stuff. And like, because then, when you do have dukh, you're like, oh, Maharaj, that's a bit, I thought we were friends.
So like you said, it's about the lens, right? The way you're looking at things, and the story
100%.
showed you that actually maybe there's a different way of looking at it, because it's, like you said, the person that pricked their foot, that the fall, as in how much pain they were meant to get was reduced, just a small little piece of pain. And the other person looks like he's been rewarded. All of his rewards have been reduced to just one golden coin. So like you're saying about the drishti, the way you're looking at things in life, the lens. But then specifically, bro, then how did you keep your case? I think we've asked you this question like 4 times.
Sorry.
And you started 10 other stories, but not that story though.
How did I keep my case?
Your hair, uncut hair.
Yeah. I started, again, so I started watching more Basics of Sikhi videos. And in Bhai Jagraj Singh's final speech, he says, started with Dawa Man, and now we're here. I think he said something along those lines. And that was actually my introduction or my gateway into Basics. I watched the Dawa Man video.
I think we all did at the start.
Yeah, and just Bhai Jagraj Singh's delivery and his ability to stay so composed, yet and make his point so eloquently, but also put him in his place, but like in a very controlled manner. I was like, this guy's amazing. I probably would have lost my. I get in arguments with my little brother, and I just lose it, and I was just like, I can't keep that much composure. I was thinking, this guy's wicked. So I was just watching more Basics videos, and then the specific moment when I decided I'm going to keep my gaze. Obviously, there were thoughts before as well, which are in my head, like, should I do it? Should I not do it? I'd have to give up this. I might have to do this. Am I built for it? There's a specific moment I was watching, because then I like Bhai Jagraj Singh's video so much that I would then go on YouTube, Basics of Sikhi, and I go date oldest to newest. Because obviously the oldest ones is obviously going to start with him, and just him in the office, with the white background, editing his own videos, and that didn't have Ganavir in those days, doing the snappy edits. And yeah, the video I watched was where I decided it was what is the purpose of life video. I might be wrong, but I think in that video he says something like, what's the worst that can happen? Maharaj will be happy with you.
Mm.
And I was like, yeah, bro, what is the worst that can happen?
Mm.
So I messaged up my close family group, just Baba and my older brother, mum and dad, and I messaged my good friends from high school. There's only about 5 of us in that group. I said, lads, I'm thinking about keeping my hair. But again, it's funny, the word doubt, it was even prevalent then. Because I said, don't tell anyone. Because in my head, it's like, if I bottle it, it's going to be quite embarrassing, So I was like, yo, just keep it on the down low. We'll see what happens. But then a couple months in, when you're looking like Babu Man or Jesus and your hair's all back, people think, yo, I used to get a fresh fade and you're like, shape your beard, what's going on? So it didn't take long for people to figure out. So yeah, that's when I started keeping my case. Final year of uni, around October, November time.
And I remember you saying you got a phone call from one of your friends.
Yes, I did.
I was going to say if you didn't say.
I did.
Yeah.
So one of my good friends, good friends from high school, he was already Amritari and keeping name, And he called me. He never replies in any WhatsApp groups, So
after seeing this message that I'm going to keep my hair.
Yeah. He never replies in any WhatsApp groups. So he called me. I remember I was working at the student union. And he goes, and I can imagine how he would say, obviously I can't, even though I'm going to replicate, but I can imagine this is how he would have, like, his face would have been. He was like, okay, so you thinking to keep your case, yeah? I was like, yeah, bro, yeah, thinking about it, let's just see because we'll see what happens. I'll keep it. If it feels right, wicked. If it doesn't, we'll just see, He goes, bro, babe. he goes, bro, babe, prapata, mano ko de huriya. Go with the milan ki, eh teri badiya. And at that point, I'm like, bro, what does that even mean? Yeah? I was like, yeah. He goes, bro, he goes, what's the point? He goes, this is your chance to meet God.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I guess. And he goes, it's going to keep your head. And like, he didn't say anything like, okay, I got off the phone call and it wasn't like, yeah, I'm boosted now, wicked. It was more like, what was that conversation? It was like, yo, this is my chance to meet God. Yeah, and he's just like, go with the teri badiya. Yeah, bro, yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, you're gonna keep it. All right, cool, safe. Pretty much. Like, it's just so funny just thinking about it. Like, he's wicked though. He's wicked.
So it's quite cool there because again, people might think that this whole term being religious, right, means that you may feel like, you can't laugh anymore, you can't have a joke, or you won't have mates who talk in a certain way, like saying safe and these kind of things, right? But it's just normalizing the fact that a lot of people today have come from these backgrounds and that we've been when we were younger, right, using certain words that you may think you use these kind of words as well, right? So it's just really cool how you can normalize all that kind of stuff, especially in a journey. Even now, the way you're talking as well, it's really nice to hear. And I'm sure a lot of people will appreciate it and kind of resonate with this kind of stuff as well, right?
I think so, because for me that was massive. That was a massive reason for why I used to listen, or still do, listen to Bhai Jagraj Singh Katha. Because I think it's in the first body, one of the first kathas he did, where he said, I forgot the exact point he was trying to make, but he said, we have people who may, look the part, but then in their job, they're screwing people over. Yeah. And he said that word. He said that word. And I remember in terms of trying to unlearn habits and build new habits, and I was keeping my case now, and I wanted to. So then I tried to make little changes that might be helpful for other people. So instead of listening to music at the gym, a body of the Jagraj Sahib Katha used to be an hour. Yeah. Which was about my gym time session. So I listened to a body pretty much every session.
Nice.
Body of Katha. And I remember listening to it, and I was like, yo, did I hear that right? So then I went back and I rewinded it. And I did that about 5 times. I don't know, it might sound like a really minor gull, but for me, I was like, that's wicked. Like, this guy's just, I feel like I'm listening to a friend. Innit? Yeah. So for me, it was like, I'm not just listening to someone talk about Sikhi. I'm hearing something from, because like you were saying, that's how, we talk with our friends. I was like, I'm just having like a conversation with my friend. I'm just learning from a friend. And for me, that was massive, because it was like, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be boring, or it doesn't have to be uber serious. It can be just a conversation.
100%.
So then after that, you've kept your case now. Did you get into Sangha? Did you go to any camps? What did you do afterwards?
So yeah, we're talking about the lens you see Sikhi in, or lens you see the world through. Yeah. And like sometimes when things happen, you may look at it from a negative and it's like, oh, why is Mara doing this? But I feel like when I started keeping my case, I started noticing these like minor miracles, like these small Gautam's Maharaj. Like, yo, Maharaj, that was wicked, man. So like I signed up for because everyone said, yo, you should go to a Sikhi camp. You're keeping your case now. Yo, go to a Sikhi camp, and I'd reiterate that 100% because for me the analogy I use is that I see Sikhi camp, especially being when I went as a Mona, is like having a Amazon Prime trial. Because you're getting a trial, you're getting a free trial for 5-6 days of the life of Amritari. You're waking up, even for me, it's a funny story actually at camp. So I was like, yo, wait, we need to shower at 3 then. I've got to shower before we go to the bar tub. And they were like, yeah, bro, obviously. And I was like, damn. I was like, oh, I would have just rocked up and then showered after. But no, yeah, so
3 in the morning, right?
3 in the morning. Yeah.
Like a dookie.
Yeah. So, and I remember when I signed up, and I remember my group leader, and even this I think was a major blessing. But let me go back to the start. So everyone said you should go to a camp, huh? And saying it's like a free Amazon Prime trial because you can have the whole week-long experience of Amritari. Then at the end you can choose. No one's saying to you, "Chal, go next Amrit Sanchar." Obviously, it'd be great if you do, but you're experiencing it. And then you can decide whether you want the Amazon Prime membership or if you want the Amritari life. You can choose. So for me, camps are massive. And Boss Camp, I think that was the first camp I went to. I think it started like end of August. And it was only like start of August when people like mentioned it to me. Oh, there's a Boss Camp, and I was like, I'm not going to get in now. But then me and my friend that I met in uni, really good friend of mine, I said, bro, do you fancy it? And he goes, all right. And I was like, so we signed up. Both signed up together. And we said, if we go, we're both going to go together though. And we were on the waiting list, and we were like, we're not going to get in. There's only a couple of weeks left until the camp. And we got an email back saying, yo, you're on the waiting list. And then a week or so, like a few days before camp, he got a message saying, someone's dropped out. Do you want the place? And he emailed back saying, I only want a place if my friend can go. And then it just felt like all these little variables. Then someone else dropped out.
Yeah.
And then we both got to go together. And like I felt like for me, keeping case, I hadn't given up meat yet. I think a key point like in my journey, everything was quite gradual. Like, you know how some people's like, I went to one camp and then I took Amrit the next day, like by Jagraj Singh. Yeah, mine was not. Like, mine was very gradual. Started keeping case, then Chal. So that was August. So then after about 9 months, I gave up meat. And then I started tying I'll come back to that after. But then, yeah, everything was gradual. Then even being blessed with Amrit was 3 years later. So I think it was very gradual, my changes.
Which is okay as well.
Yeah,
There's no rush, right? It's okay to take it sage now sometimes, and sometimes that's even better because you build your foundations.
Yeah, I think for me it was helpful because I started in that time. I started building different routines, and that helped me like slowly. It was quite slow. It was quite slow, but then so I went to Boss Camp, and like the vibes of the Sangha, experiencing that, like experiencing things I hadn't experienced before, like Amrit Vela, like just being in proper Gursikh Sangat, it was really good Boss Camp. And after then, I think this was a major blessing as well. I remember because I had it in my head because I was going to. I rewind a couple months now. Sorry, I had a job interview for the graduate scheme I got on after uni. And again, these small miracles talk about Marad. I'd only applied properly for one graduate scheme, and I remember I was like to my dad, I was like, "Yo, after uni, I'm going to go to India for a bit. I want to see family and see the Nanke." He goes, "You need to." He goes, "Okay, fine, that's fine." He goes, "You need to sort out your job. What are you going to do after uni? You're going to be lounging around." I said, No, I've got applied for one job. He's like, "Oh, you're going to put eggs in one basket." And I felt like Mara did do beyond good because that's the only job I really applied for, and I got that one. And I remember I went to the interview, and I was still in the bubble man flex, where the hair slicked back and stuff. Because I had in my mind, I was like, I don't want to start tying at the start until I've given up meat.
Yeah.
That was just a sharada thing I had, innit? Because I was like, I don't want to have the roop of a gurmukh, but still be eating meat. For me, I didn't want to. So that was a thing for me. So I was like, I'm not going to. But I had to tie the start. I couldn't rock up looking like that to my interview, all scruffy and that. And I asked my friends. My friends were case study and tied the mullet and stuff. I was like, "Yo, can you tie it on me?" And I remember that day I didn't want to take it off. Even after the interview, I was like, I took a couple pictures. I walking around in my briefcase and stuff, 3-piece suit. And I went to the interview, and to talk about these small miracles. I went to the interview. I felt like I smashed the group task, and then you do a presentation. That was good as well, Mars Gidpa. And the final part of the assessment center was a interview with 2 employees. The interviews only meant to last 20 minutes. Ours lasted about 45 minutes because we started. Honestly, it's crazy. I wasn't even planning for this question, but he said, name a time in your life when you've gone through a major change. And I was like, bro, you're looking at it. Oh, this is the first time I've tried at the start. I was like, I'm going through I've started getting more into learning more about my religion. And we just talked about Sikhi for about 45 minutes. So look at the time. We didn't even get through many of the other questions. And I remember when I went back into the assessment center, the other interviewees were like, candidates. They're like, yeah, you went well over time. I was like, yeah, we did actually. Yeah. So these more small miracles.
And that's so powerful as well, because a lot of people think when you go into like a corporate job or something, they feel like maybe ashamed of having KS or the star or something.
Or disadvantage.
Or at disadvantage. But with you, it's the complete opposite. It empowered you.
Yeah, I think it was a massive advantage. It gave me something really good to talk about. You stand out as well. You do stand out. Hana? That's the point. And yeah, it was really empowering. And then went to boss camp, and then I had in my mind, I tried at the start then, but I was like, you're at camp for 6-7 days. I was like, I've been vegetarian anyway. I was meant to give up meat here, and I'd got the job, so I was like, I'm going to start tying them at the start. When I get the job, which was like a couple of weeks later, when I start the job, so in September, that's when I'll give up meat. I've gone to camp, I'll give up meat, and I'll be tying at the start then. And then, the final day you do a pledge. And one of my good friends, he said to me, bro, go up, innit? You're giving up meat after this. Make that your pledge. And I was like, no, I don't need to do that, bro. Like, I don't need to walk up and like make a big deal of it.
You mean the end of camps, right? They give
end of camps, 100.
Yeah.
But and he said to me, he made a very good point. He said, bro, it's not for you. He goes, you're gonna get all the Sangat's blessings, and not in that ardas and that. And I think that I feel like for me that I feel like that's carried me or helped me a lot. And Maras get by other camps as well. Said I've implemented something.
Yeah.
So like after then my second camp was a basics camp. After that camp, and then going back to a small miracles, my group leader at boss camp, again saying if we're coming from a Monna background, you think, someone is a Singh, you think they've always been a Singh, so you think they don't get it. But my group leader, he was an ex-Monna as well, and he had a very similar journey to me as well. And like just having someone you can resonate with, like for me again, I just felt really lucky, even in that small sense. And yeah, so then basics camp as well, I was like, I remember you saying in a Gatha actually, you said make sure you take something back from camp. For those, you could implement anything. I think I took the easy one. You said something like, for those who aren't reading Kirtan Suella, just start reading Kirtan Suella. So I was like, yo, that sounds like, all right. Took a 2-minute march to add. I was like, yo, that's a quick win, isn't it? And then after the second camp, I think my foreigner, I didn't go up for Surupa, but I was like, because you hear it all the time in Qatar, start Santhia. Passing Deep Singh as well is like, start Santhia. And if you're not, I think again, it's related to Gunge ki Mathiyai, innit? If you're not doing it, it's hard to explain to someone the ras that you get from the fal. I think you only understand it if you're doing it.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize, I remember Passing Deep Singh, so I just got on the topic, I may as well get to this now. When I was having major doubts at one point. Not about like Maraskip, I wasn't thinking, I need to cut my case or like, but it was more like, I don't know if I'm built for this. If I like, did I make the right choice? Matrix moment. Did I take the right pill? Was I meant to take the red pill?
Yeah.
Was I meant to? No, the red pill is enlightenment. Was I meant to take the blue pill? Ignorance, where he's having the steak, even though he knows the steak is fake, even though all of this is like, the rust isn't real or is temporary. Was I better off just ignorance is bliss? And I said to Pastor Deep Singh, I said, bro, like, I said, I'm really struggling. I was like, I look at Gurmukhs, they'll go to a program and they won't want to leave until they'll want to leave right at the end. I said, I'll be sitting there thinking, first it's effort enough just getting there for me. Then I was like, then I'm thinking, I need to go. I could be watching football, could be doing that. What am I doing? Like, I'm not just, they were. And I was thinking, that's not right. So for me, it puts this mad just in my own head. And Pastor Deep Singh said to me, he goes, bro, come Santhia. And I was thinking I was like, yeah, cool. But in my head, I was thinking, but I was like, bro, Massa, I'm coming once a week on a Sunday, yeah? You want me to start coming 2 extra days in the week? Come on, man. Like, but it was true. It was massive. I think for me, like now being blessed to have started Santhia and being in Sangat, I now understand why, at camps you mention it a lot as well, start Santhia, Jinnah ne nahi Santhia kiti. Yeah, it's massive, massive.
Santhia is basically just very simply learning how to read Gurbani, Gurmukhi, so you can read part very simply as well, right? And definitely it's like that second step or the next step, right? Especially if you just come into Sikhi now, it's a good way to build your relationship with the Guru because now you get to read the Guru's Bani. And it's again, like you were saying earlier about what's the worst that can happen? You'll make your Guru happy, right? The quote that you said from Bhai Jagraj Singh. Just being able to read the Guru's Bani, you're able to speak to the Guru. You're going to make the Guru happy, right? So definitely recommend everybody make a conscious effort to learn how to read Gurumukhi part. If you can't find a local teacher, then there's a lot of great resources online. For example, Nahang Santhia, which we always plug for a very good reason anyway, but they've got a lot of great resources online. Their SoundCloud page, their YouTube page where you can learn the uncut, the letters, the maharni, how to make the sounds. And these things are really important. Again, like I said, for building that relationship. And another thing that we spoke about before was the idea of that now it's not just once a week you're going to see a guru. It's not once a week you're going into a satsang at a company where you're kind of boosting your Sikhi, you're filling that cup up, right, with spirituality. Because I think at that time when we were speaking as well, it was like, look, if you've got 7 days in a week and you're spending 1 hour of that week or 2 hours at the Gurdwara Sahib, it's going to have an effect on you. It may, if you came on a Sunday, for example, or Sunday night, you may be good for Monday, Tuesday, then you're going to be, you've topped up, but then it's going to go down Wednesday, Thursday, and by the end of the week, you're drained. All right, so it was about being consistent, having more times in the week where you're surrounding yourself with that good company and keeping yourself out of other types of company that are kind of pulling you back down or emptying your cup, basically, right? And I'm sure that had a big effect on you as well, right? Didn't it?
Starting Santhia?
Yeah, or just being in Sangat.
100%, massive. And you know what? Even I think a key part in so said gradual changes. So I think just a checkpoints in my mind. So then after a second basics camp, I had to let me start Santhia, but I didn't do that straight away. A key point I think for me was also recently the first lockdown.
Yeah.
So I realized I had this sort of this light bulb moment. I was like, I'm not going to spend 4 hours a day just commuting anymore. I was like, if I'm struggling my Sikhi, and again in the 7 Habits book, there's one of the key habits, or what he says is start with the end in mind, meaning whatever you're at your end, hum admi ha ekdami maholat maholat na jana.
Wow, drop a bad punct.
The thing, no, same one.
But blending them in it.
No, but
the Charak style, Hanji.
The ones important, the things important to you.
Yeah.
He says, make sure the things that matter most must never be at the mercy of things which matter least. Do you get it? So things that aren't that important, we end up prioritizing that over things that we say are important to us. So for my example, if I say Sikhi is important to me, or like I try to say gym's important to me, but I'm prioritizing a new Netflix series or binging PS4 or, just doing stuff that isn't the important stuff, then I'm just chatting because my thoughts aren't aligning with my actions.
Hanji.
Hana? So in lockdown, I was like, I've got this extra time. If I say these things are important to me, let me actually invest time in it. And obviously we talk about, you've said this in a katha as well, at the start of your Sikhi, was it Guru Arjan Dev Ji you said you've got to proactively make steps to improve your Sikhi. Obviously, it's down to Kirpa and Maharaj as well. But I think you said at the start of your journey is very important.
It was from what was the
is it Ape Bija Hikao?
It's not the Pankti, it's the Sikh Hada Pagatamala. I think it's in there. They just the Sikh came. We need to make a video of this still.
Okay.
It's just about like when we asked the question about is it in our hands, it's in the Guru's hands. A very simple the Guru said, Guru Arjan Dev Ji to the Sikh at the time was that it depends on the person. So if you're just starting a journey, we can't just sit there and say it's gonna happen. Right, you have to make the conscious effort. You've got to do You got to do the work.
Yeah.
But later on in your journey, you may realize that actually it was all the guru doing it. Why?
Yeah.
So it's you. So who knows? What is it then? Is it the
Yeah.
Sikh doing it, or is it the guru doing it?
Yeah.
But all the guru said is at the start, for that person who's starting the spiritual path, don't look at it as it's all gonna come from the sky. Not to say it wouldn't, but you know yourself. Okay, you have to do the actions. Apana hati apana ape hi kaj sawari. It means that with your own hands, you have to solve your own problems. But the guru has given you the tools.
Yeah.
I think that's the way you'd look at it, basically.
100%. And I think the start of lockdown for me, Maharaj Kirpa started to have that sort. Okay, if I do want to, I think I've never been someone to do something half-heartedly, I think, anyway. So even with uni work, even if I left it to the last minute, I wouldn't submit it until I thought it was really, really good. That sort of, not pride, but you if you're putting your name on something, for me anyway, I'd want it to be good, Hana, or the best it can be. So that if I'm starting my Sikhi journey, and I was half-arsing it, I think, I was coasting for a long time, I think, it's like, I wasn't being true to myself either, because I tried to be, do it to the best of my ability anyway. And again, you need kirpa.
Yeah.
So I said to this is wicked. I find this hilarious anyway. But I said to my younger brother, I was like, "Yo, I know I need to start," because I was listening to Nitin, one of the gradual changes. I was like, "Bro, I should start Santhia." And he was saying, "If I just come Santhia, yeah."
Like he's doing his accent.
Do the
He's not gonna like that.
do the broadcasting first. And I was like, no, it's long, man. What, Sundays at 8?
8 in the morning.
Yeah, I was like, bro, Tuesdays at 6. I was like, bro, I'm not even gonna. So, but then I had the bahana. Oh, I'm commuting, bro. I'm not gonna get back till late. But then lockdown, there was no bahana now, and even though I wasn't in class. But he, some people, you give them a little bit of power.
Yeah.
You give them an inch, they take a mile.
Yeah.
So he took him being my ustad very, very literally.
Your teacher, yeah?
He goes, and he's my younger brother, Hana. So I think he forgot the aspect of he's still my younger brother. So it's very, Rohan, you're going to do 25 vari abhyas.
25 times practice.
25 times practice. We're going to learn on Tuesdays and Sundays at the Nahang Santhia times, so that you've built the routine. When it goes back to in-person lessons, it won't be a shock to you. And I said, who do you think you are? I was like, bro, who are you ordering? I was like, bro, yeah. He's like, bro, I'm your star. Yeah. He's like, bro, I'm your stud. I said, yeah, I'm your older brother. I was like, Banda Barajani. I was like, yo, you can't be ordering. And then I used to find it so, I've got this a very toxic trait. I don't like being bad at stuff, and unfortunately, I'm bad at quite a few things. So with Santhia, you've witnessed it firsthand. I was struggling big time. Akra de Bashan, Mahani. Like I was still struggle massively, and then luckily, Pastor Deep Singh Astadji would very lovingly and nicely, give encouragement and like say, no, bro, it's like this. And I was like, okay, thank you, I'll work on that. But I used to be like, I'm realizing now where he's got this from. So you're gonna start, when you listen to someone's party, be like, So if I was doing it right, you'd be like, But if I did something wrong, you'd be like, Naji. And I used to find it very condescending. He's young, Naji. He's like, bro, how do you still not know that's Papa? And I was like, fam, you can't talk to me like that. Then I think like a week in, or just 2 lessons in, he said, bro, I'm not teaching you anymore. I'm going to ask Pastor Deep Singh if he'll teach. And I was like, no, allow it, bro. Because I still had this, because I wasn't in Sangha, I was very much, talking about, oh no, them things are too serious, man. Like, I was even though I was like coming Sundays, I was like, bro, I wasn't very much immersed in Sangat, and I think that's one of the reasons I was coasting. I was like, no, bro, no, allow it. He goes, no, bro, I'm asking him. And I was like, oh, it's safe. So next thing I know, he told me, started lessons with Pastor Deep Singh. And this was, I remember I told you this conversation, the first conversation before our first lesson, Pastor Deep Singh said, bro, for me to teach Santhia is a blessing. He goes, but for you to learn Santhia is a bigger blessing, or just as big of a blessing, yeah? So he's basically saying, don't take the mick. He goes, but I'll give you the time. He goes, but be consistent. If you're not going to be consistent, let me know that if you're not going to come to a lesson, let me know beforehand. And I think this is something in the West, I think we've spoken about it before. We don't understand, or we don't fully grasp the concept of an ustad. Because I think we quite often, especially when a supply teacher comes in, we rip our supply teachers. We shouldn't at school and that.
Yeah.
But I only started, luckily, like Pawan had briefed me after my stint with him of as his vidyarthi. of how you treat an ustad and the respect level that needs to be showed. But I think people, especially in the West, we don't get that. We don't understand that, Anna. And so yeah, so by something, I think we've spoken about this before. Expectation versus reality. If Baisab luckily set the expectation in the first lesson, okay, this is what I expect, and then this is what you can expect from me. If you are consistent and you deliver, I'll give you the time, sort of thing, huh? And luckily, I think hopefully you'll agree, I haven't taken the mick, and I've been relatively consistent.
Now, to be fair, during lockdown, you're really good. So I can echo what not saying that you're not good now, but definitely during lockdown, good kirpa.
Yeah.
Just to echo what VG's saying as well about that stuff. That again, it's both sides is blessings. But if somebody's giving their time out, to teach you, then of course take it seriously, right? Because we could offer that time to somebody else and teach them, right? So it's not about a bump thing. Anything, it's just literally that simple thing, right? Somebody else can learn. Or I could just spend that time resting, right? If you got me.
And this was one of the things you said to me. You said, bro, there's like, I don't know how many people exactly, but you said there's like 100 people on the waiting list because I'm only taking you on because I think you're all right, you're cool. And he goes, because Pavan did Benti to me. And just saying that was like, don't take the mic. For me, like just talking to myself, I was like, don't take the mic.
Yeah. And literally, it's not even about that. Ustad very simply means like a teacher. It was not me trying to make myself superior to him because that expectation as well is just that mutual respect between a teacher and the student, right? That I think that's very important because sometimes people might feel like, oh, they're demanding respect. But it was no demand, it was just these expectations. But also, let's have this mutual respect between each other as well. And what was great, and one thing that people may find themselves, and what I learned from my Ustadji as well, and my elders, is that, if you put the work in, the teacher really appreciates it, and they want to teach you more. Well, and that was the case with Rohanvir Singh because when it comes to learning to read part, for those that are home listening and they've not taken that step yet, it's with the Guru's grace, it's not that difficult. If you practice, that's the most important thing. If you just practice and you use the resources and you listen to your feedback, you're going to progress very quickly. So the first thing you'd start with is a small book called Balopadesh, right? Balopadesh literally very simply means that teachings for a child or like the basic level, right? Where you start with your 35 letters or 41 letters are in there. And then you have the Maharani, which is at the sounds like I. You know the rest, yeah?
Honestly, I know that it doesn't bring the bad memories is the wrong word. But Balopadesh, I used to struggle so much. And now when it comes to something, I see people on Balopadesh, I'm like, I'm with you, bro. I feel it.
But then after that, you have like small words. If you put like an S and an R and an S together, Rara and Sasa, Rasa, Kasa, Gala, Para, and then you get the bigger words. So you very slowly transition through the Poti Sahib, the small book, to where you get to the end where you're now comfortable with reading Punjabi Gurmukhi part. Right? And what was really cool was that you showed that commitment at the start, right? Because we had that serious conversation. I was serious about teaching, you were serious about learning. That he actually finished Balopadesh quite quickly. Some people takes them years, man, or they just disappear, right? But we got through Balopadesh in a few months, I think. During that first lockdown, I think, innit? You're doing about two, three lessons a week as well, right? So the main point of me saying this is that, if you want to learn, first of all, do ardas to Guru Sahib Ji, a humble plea that I want to learn. But if you get the opportunity, don't waste it. Don't mess around. Because I did that at the start when I was learning. I didn't take my Santhia seriously. Even when I started doing Prachar, I used to prioritize programs over my lessons. But what happened was that I ended up going to programs, doing talks, and people correct me on my part. Like, Baisab, you didn't say, you said tatta instead of tadda. Right? Or like, you didn't say, I'll get feedback from other Sikhs saying that, by the way, this person said about you that you said that wrong.
Was it Pavan?
No, it wasn't Pavan.
Sounds like something Pavan would do.
No. This is before. I'm not saying that my part's perfect now, but that I wasn't topping myself up. Right? And I think that's another thing. It's not just a class that you're coming to. You're topping yourself up with spirituality, with Sikhi as well, right? Which I'm sure you experienced yourself. But I thought I'd just add that in. It's very important.
Massive.
And that the more you put in, the more you're going to get out. You're going to get your guru's kushi, your guru's going to be happy with you. But also your teacher is going to be happy with it and they're going to want to teach you more. Hence, what I was very happy at the time. I said, bro, why don't you do 3 lessons a week? right? Because during lockdown, we didn't have much to do. So literally, I could be doing my work and listening to you at the same time and stuff. And you really progressed through that. So, you know, just two people listening, you can learn. You should learn if you have the opportunity, and don't take advantage of it in the wrong way. Take advantage of it in a positive way and use it to progress and progress a lot as well, basically, is what I want to say.
This has become like a Santhia podcast now.
It has to, man.
Santhia.
No, because for me, especially my journey, at least, it was massive. And, you know, again, we talk about my doubts, and even when I was keeping kids, am I built for it or not? One of the things that Starji has said in a Gatha recently after Santhia, that's again one of the blessings of coming to Santhia, the Gatha afterwards as well.
Yeah.
Mad. And Starji said, you know,
This is Gyani
Gyani
Ji
Jinpal, sorry.
Yeah.
He said that the idle mind is the devil's playground.
Yeah.
And if you're just villa, and especially when you're trying to step on this path, you're giving your mind more times to just be in Vikara and like those type of thoughts,
Negative thoughts,
negative
right?
thoughts, yeah, or thoughts that aren't enhancing your Sikhi or your spirituality. He says, but the banda or the gursik that's doing kirtan or doing abhyas or doing
Sangat.
sangat, you know, or is immersing their time in gursik things, their mind's got no time for that stuff. And I feel like I experienced that in that lockdown, where, you know, like you're saying, 3 times a week, even when I'm not doing my lesson, then I'm trying to do a bias or fit a bias in. It's like, I need to do a bias. It's just like, and it's more time you're spending on Sikhi things, investing in your Sikhi. And for me, that's one of the reasons that now, I think I said it at Singh's camp, in our like group, I realized I'm sounding like Bhai Sukhdeep Singh, you know. I was like, start Santhia. If you haven't started Santhia, start Santhia. If you don't know why, bro, just do it. Like, Santhia is so blessed. And for those, I mean, we could probably clip it in, hopefully. Vidya Starji's 3-minute video on the importance of Santhia will just blow your mind.
And so just moving on to a different stage now, on when you actually took Amrit. So what prompted you to actually make that step then?
You know what? So when you've given up meat and you're keeping your case, it feels like Amrit, like when people would ask me, it was like, it's in the route map, you know, it's on the it's in the plan somewhere. I just don't know when. And I would Pavan would any Amrit Sanchar forward it, not say anything, he'd just forward it. And then Bhai Babban Singh was also quite, not definitely, I wouldn't say pushy, but he was encouraging.
Yeah.
Very encouraging in a very loving way. He's also shown me a lot of love in that. So shout out Babban. And so he'd also forward me Amrit and Charles and stuff. But I'd be like, no, I need to pakka this, or I need to start keeping name, have a pakka nit name, or I need to do this, need to do that. And it's actually a call after Santhia with Bhai Sukhdeep Singh. Do you remember this?
I remember the call, yeah.
He said,
I remember that now when he started talking about it. Yeah.
He said, bro, are you Amritari? You're fully random, just out of nowhere.
That's how I approach these conversations. Are you Amritari?
Yes, bro, you Amritari? And I was like, no, I'm not actually. Yeah, I'm not. And he goes, what the hell are you waiting for?
Did I say that? No way. That's a tune as well.
He goes, what are you waiting for? I said, I don't know, bro. And I had a very upfront conversation with Bhai Sukhdeep Singh. Maybe it was easier because we were on the phone. And I said, bro, I feel like I've got so much mail, so much dirt, that I was like, I just don't feel ready for it. Again, am I built for it? I was like, bro, like, and it's hard to have these conversations up front because it's not embarrassing, but you think, we look at Gursiks and think, no, they're probably cool, man. Like they're
all like sorted, isn't it?
They're sorted.
They're set, but in many cases, it's not that's not right.
And like we talk about it straight up. I was like, Gursik said a really good quote to me. It's about Insta bio. Bhai Sukhdeep Singh said it in a Gatha, and I was like, he's actually looked at my profile. It's sometimes the biggest form of learning is unlearning, or transformation. In transformation, the biggest form of learning is unlearning, and that was very prevalent for me. Because growing up, going back to like being a Monna and your Sangat, if it's not Sangat, if it's not like Gursiks, the conversations Banda has, especially in the way I feel like India is getting just as bad. It's like, first thing you see a woman, it's like, oh, she's all right. Oh, can I get with her? Like, these are the type of conversations you're having. I'm like, oh, yeah, have you seen this? Like, these are the type of conversations you're having. And then even if you've now stepped on the path and you're trying to become a Sikh, you realize, even if I'm not acting on these thoughts, just the thought enough is bad. So I was like, bro, I'm still twisted. I'm still trying to unlearn all these sort of things, my bad habits, my thoughts. I was like, bro, I'm not ready for Amrit. And Pastor Deep said to me, he goes, bro, we think we have to perfect ourselves for the Guru. We have to perfect ourselves to take Amrit, but we're never going to be perfect, innit? I don't think that was a disclaimer to say, yo, do what you want, like, pull and under sabko. Because sometimes, we think, a pull Guru karta, like, we can do what we want, because, I'm not perfect. I mean, I can do bare pop, then God gets it. But it's still like, again, it's the Matrix moment for me. And I said this to my younger brother. I asked him, I said, bro, the red pill enlightenment, right? Blue is you don't find out this is you don't realize that this is just the Matrix, and you stay in the Matrix. You ignorance is bliss. Let's just call it that. The ignorance is bliss pill. I said, bro, do you sometimes feel like you took the wrong pill? Because if you're a monna and you have these thoughts, you don't even feel guilty about it. Even if you don't act on it, you don't feel guilty about it because you think that's normal. You think these thoughts or this way of thinking or this lifestyle is fine. Regular relationships or even just the thought, whatever, right? Whatever even the other things, whatever, yeah. But for me, that's probably straight up. That's probably one of the main things, that I struggled with. And he said, "No, bro, I don't have any. I don't question my decision. I took the right pill, man." And I was like, he's like, "What? What about you?" I said, Nah, bro, nah. I took the right pills. Yeah, this pill's sick, but like, do you get it? Like, so even that, then that for me, it would give me more doubt. Like, some people are like just Maharaj good for kind. I hope Maharaj keeps him close, and he never has that doubt because it's a really, really shit feeling. It is. It's a really bad feeling. That overwhelming guilt can feel like a burden, man. Like, and it used to eat me up. It still does sometimes because you think, man, this isn't for me. I'm not built for this, Hannah.
I think just one story there. I think I shared it with you. I had it in the Katha as well. Was of when a Sikh came to Guru Gobind Singh Ji and said a very similar thing about having these negative thoughts and stuff. And Guru said that it's good. And then they said it again. No, do you understand what I'm saying to you, Maharaji? That in humbly they're saying it. That I'm having these certain types of thoughts. It's quite negative. And the Guru says that it's good. Very good for you. And then the Sikh was just really confused. And Maharaji, they said, why are you saying this for Maharaji? And they said, because at least now you know. So it's almost as if now you're waking up. So it's a different way of looking at it. Again, like you said before about the lens, right? The perspective that actually now you are awake to your thoughts. So we've been asleep for so long. And let's just say, how old are you when you became Amritari or you started walking the spiritual path?
Amritari 24. Started keeping gears 21.
So like for 20 years of your life,
man,
and for 20 years of your 25 years of life that you've had, right? You've been living a certain way and you've been in one respect asleep to that. And now you're waking up, right? It's not going to go away like that. You're, like I said, you're unlearning about 20 years of habits.
You have to reprogram yourself.
Reprogram yourself, and it's not going to take. I'm not saying it can't take, but it's going to take time, right? And everybody has difficulties. Everybody has struggles. Everybody's fighting this one thing. It goes back to the mindset series as well that we've started with the Guru's grace. It's about that whole Manajita Jagjit, which is such an obvious line that everybody kind of chucks around, but it's so important because even the Guru said it to us that you have to conquer your mind, meaning that everybody's fighting that battle. Everybody's got their struggles. It's just the difference here is that we're doing it with the Guru support. Right? It's a nit dajang, a daily battle that we're facing. And the Guru even talks about in Gurbani. They say, Tana jiyo te hiko jaga mein mukte hara chitta mein judd bechare. They say that blessed is that being, Tana jiyo te hiko jaga mein, who's come in this world, mukte hara. On their tongue, they've got God's name. Mukte hara chitta mein judd bechare. But in their mind, they're always fighting a battle. Right? So we could be saying Vaheguru in our tongue. One way to translate it, one loose way is that Vaheguru, but we could be fighting a whole battle in our mind. But blessed is that person who's trying. You know what I mean? So, we're all, I think everybody, and even if you have good phases in your Sikhi, it kind of goes back to the whole non-linear thing, which we can even touch upon again because we didn't actually go through it earlier, that it's not linear. No, it's not a straight line up. It's literally It's just, what would you call this? What is this called?
Peaks and troughs. Isn't
Yeah,
it? Peaks and troughs.
zigzag.
Zigzag. It's literally up, down, up, down. But hopefully, overall, over the 5, 10, 15, 20 years, it's going up
Yeah.
overall. And you got to remember, we've got to remember in this room that we are very young. We're very young in age, as people sometimes fire shots us in the comment section as well. But we're also very young in our spiritual Sikhi. We're babies. Do you get what I mean? You're definitely a baby. I'm probably a bit older than you in that respect. So what do you expect? Do you get what I mean? I think we're too hard on ourselves sometimes, and that's why Sangat is very important.
That's what I was going to say. Because when you're in Sangat and you realize, not that it's normalized, but that other people have also got. When you realize that Gurmukhs you look up to, or Gursikhs you look up to, have also faced this battle, you're like, oh man, it's like a relief.
Yeah.
One really inspirational Gursikh that I know, I was telling him about it, and he said, bro, he said, you'll know, hopefully you can fill in the gaps, but he said, the process of, I think, making gold, when you're heating it in the furnace, the male goes to the top.
Yeah.
He goes, so if you're like having thoughts, you're having bad thoughts, especially like even if you're doing part or you're in Sangat, that's cool, man. That's part of the process. He normalized it for me and just gave me a bit of horn slice, like, yo, what you have that as well, sort of thing. You, whoa. And so for that, for me, that like, but then you don't know that unless you're in Sangat. And I was again, like I was saying, I was quite, I was like, no, I can do my own thing. I think that was one of the reasons I was just coasting.
Yeah.
So you need Sangat, huh? And the other analogy, Bhai Jagraj Singh has used it in a katha, that all that male we've built up, not just from this life, previous lives.
Yeah.
So it's like a bucket of dirty water. The only way to make that water clean, you need to keep filling it with water. So whatever analogy you want to use for what that water would be, whether that's listening to Kirtan, listening to Katha and Kirtan daily, going into Sangha the daily, doing Santhya, doing Abhyas, you need to keep filling that bucket, man. And eventually, hopefully, that bucket will become clean water, huh?
Yeah. And it goes back to like the whole social and environmental conditioning we have since we're born, especially living in the West as well. But it can be anywhere. When we watch all these TV
Movies,
programs,
social
we
media.
like see all this advertising, social media. It's conditioning our
Big
mind
time,
to
bro.
think in one way. But then what's so powerful, what you've touched on, is having that awareness. And just when we get that awareness of what's right and wrong, then we can start actively thinking in our mind, how do I stop this thought? How do I overcome this? What can I? And often there's a really funny thing that if I tell you not to think about something, you're going to think about it. So if I say elephant, you're going to think about an elephant. So then when you're in these situations, what can you do? You can say, instead of thinking of how I don't want to think about this, think of Vaheguru. Think of something positive.
Yeah.
And then eventually you'll lead your mind into a more positive habits.
It's like that Simon Sinek video. Do you remember it? Sinek, the one who's talking about ice skiing.
Yes.
You and Arjun are a bit of a pro at this.
No.
But he goes, the people who skiing, innit? Yeah.
Yeah.
The people who end up crashing into the trees, in their thought there is, don't hit the trees, don't hit the trees, don't hit the trees, and they hit the trees. But the pros, what they're thinking is, what is it? They're thinking pathway.
They're looking at the path ahead, and they're going with the flow.
They're just looking at the path. So they're thinking positive. But the banda who hasn't got that buddhi, he's just thinking, don't hit the trees, don't hit the trees, don't hit the trees. So another good analogy Bhai Jagraj Singh uses, I think it might be in the Why Meditate video. And all of us, and I found, luckily, I've had this sort of conversation with, I think meditating is becoming a bit of a trend now, you could say. So even like my colleagues at work, they'll be quite big on meditating or yoga. And like, I remember Bhai Jagraj Singh, so I use this, it's like, yo, do you know that yoga actually used to mean union with God? And they were like, oh, really? Like they sort of, I think they ignore the spirituality origins of it. And to them, like when they say, you should try meditating, it's, oh, bro, I can't do that. Like my mind's all over the place. And I was like, yes, so is mine. But the analogy used was that Bhai Jagraj is saying the mind is like a monkey. To control a monkey ne tapanawa in it. That's his job. He's gonna tap and like dance around. But what do? Like to the mind, to the monkey, you put a rassi on it, you put a rope on it, just to control. You start limiting how much he can bounce around. That's the same thing. It's easier said than done, but the same thing you need to try with the mind. When you realize the mind is starting jumping around in all different sort of things, control it. Just try to bring it back. I mean, you probably get on the mindset series anyway, don't need me talking about it. But I thought that was a really good analogy. Again, just that hindsight thing is like, if I'm sitting there thinking about, you know, I remember I was actually at Bhai Jagraj Singh's Barsi. I think it was one of the programs. I forgot who was doing Simran or Kirtan. So they're not a representation of them. But I was thinking about, oh man, I could be playing FIFA. If I was like, oh yeah, if I was playing 2K, what move would I do with my player? Oh, I need to boost his attributes.
And there's actually the videos on YouTube. I remember someone showing me the clip, and I was like, Rohanvir, why are you so sad?
Are you serious?
Yeah. And then he was telling me, oh, this is why I didn't really want to be here. He was like, I can't wait. I couldn't wait to go home.
Yeah, I couldn't wait to go home. So the point being, you're meant to try control the mind. Even though controlling a monkey might be hard, we can try, Hannah.
And don't play FIFA.
Yeah, allow video games. And trust me.
But I think your main point there was Sangat, right? So
yes,
kind of bringing it back in then. So how was, obviously we've talked about the Santhia and all that kind of stuff, the camps beforehand, but like for you now then, like Sangat, what is that, your company, what is that for you then? How has that helped you? How is that helping you?
Massive. I think after lockdown, after lockdown, I think we had Singh's camp straight after, huh?
Yeah.
Or like when the battle restrictions started loosening. So we had Singh's camp, right? And I think that's when I actually started talking a bit more to like Rohanvir, a bit more to like On Guard, different some other things.
Yeah.
Again, it's another major blessing. Oh, this is a really cool story actually. Just to bring it back, sorry. But actually, when you asked me, so the triggers of me being blessed with Amrit, even at the end, I was trying to bottle it. Like bottle it, meaning I tried to just squirm my way out of it, get away from it. So I said to my mum, because I thought my mum's always had Sharda for Sikhi, and again, like she was Amritari when she was in India, but when she came here, her name, like again, peaks and troughs even for her. And even though like she's one of the good Sikhs I look up to, I said, Mum, and in lockdown we started doing more like Sikhi stuff together. So like I was saying that I was starting to practice a Nityanem. So we started doing Reras together, me, Pavan and Mum. That's good, but that's really nice. So we started doing that as a routine. We'd do it together, huh? Pretty much every day. And that started because of lockdown. I was like, Mum, like you're proper in Sikhi, you pretty much live it. Like it's not much for you to diag anyway. I was like, there's an Amrit Sanjad. I was like, Mum, I'll take Amrit if you take it. You know this?
No, never heard this.
Yeah, I said to Mum, I'll take Amrit if you take Amrit. And she goes, I wasn't expecting. She goes, Tiga. She goes, safe. I said, no, Mum. There's an Amrit Sanjad on Sunday. If you go, I'll go. She goes, yeah, cool. I was like, no, Mum, this Sunday. She goes, yeah. I was like, we're doing this then. And then even on the day, I remember I went and I saw the Jathedar bunch of people and I looked at them and I just looked straight down. I was shook. And in my head, the doubts is very prevalent for me, man. I was thinking, yo, if I run out, would anyone say anything? They're not going to drag me back here. Like, is there still time? Is there still time to get out of this? I was like, no, I'm too deep. But Mara's a good bar. I genuinely feel this. There's obviously still doubts and struggles. Like you said, every day there's struggles. But I feel like they've been drastically reduced from when I was blessed with Amrit compared to before. Drastically. Because even I think, I didn't mention this, but when I was starting keeping case, or I think we even had this dream as a Amritari. I've had dreams that I've cut my case in my dream. And then even in the dream, I'm in deep regret. And I wake up and I'm like, thank God, man. And I think for me, it was just a reminder of, even if you're having these struggles or these doubts, like in that moment, you realize straight away, I don't want that, bro. I don't want to cut my case because I wake up and like, and there's that relief. So even if you have the doubts, somewhere under, okay, no, I don't want that though. The grass is green. I don't want.
Maybe that could be like your subconscious mind is trying to reiterate to you or try and reinforce that this is what the world would be if I wasn't. If I didn't have my case, Yeah.
And when we sorry, carry on.
No.
I was saying when we were in the car as well, and you told this, it's that same thing about your lens of what you're looking, how you look at the story, right? Because again, there's a story of Guru Arjan Dev Ji as well when what's it called again? Somebody had come to Guru Arjan Dev Ji and they matha take to the Guru. So long story, very simply, when he bowed to the Guru, his whole future changed. And he actually had a horrible dream where he lived his whole life, died, and came back in another life. And at the end of the story, what he'd realized was that actually what he was dreaming about was meant to be his entire life. but he burnt it all away in his dream. So like for you, it was your you know, in your dream you cut your hair. I've had those dreams before. I think I probably had like a month ago, but I wake up as normal now. I'm kind of used to it. And I know a friend who used to struggle with alcohol consumption, and he's coming to Sikhi, so he doesn't drink anymore. And he says that he's had dreams of like drinking in his dreams, and it's obviously scary, especially if you were the addict to drinking, right? And you're waking, you're dreaming about it. That can really mess somebody up. But I think what helped him and what helped me as well was the idea that actually in your dream, I'm not saying this is exactly the case, it might not be, but what helped me a lot was actually, you know, you're burning all that away in your dream. So he took a lot of like comfort in hearing that actually maybe that was meant to happen to him, but it's all burnt away in his dream. And same with me, I think that maybe, you know, who knows, maybe I was meant to cut my hair, right? But actually it all got burnt away in a dream. So again, it's just the positive way of looking at it, that actually it was just a dream.
And I mean, this is important for why we should talk about these things. Like a lot of people, they might see this and then get scared of it, and then they'll never talk about it to anyone, and then it'll play on their mind and get worse and worse. But it's good that we have this space where we can talk about stuff like this.
Yeah.
There's a Shabad by Guru Gobind Singh as well that talks about like, don't even go near the bed of you know, another woman in your dreams, right? So Guru Sahib has shown us that the, you know, what are the thoughts that people could have, and people are struggling with a lot of these thoughts. But if they actually just spoke about it, and again, I appreciate it's not easy to speak about these things, but hence why we're sitting here speaking about it. But you know, you can, if you're very lucky or you're very, you know, good as a kid, but you can find yourself in good circles. But I know it's hard to open up. That's why books are great to read as well, of great Guru Sikhs and their Jeevanis, because a lot of the things they've experienced and you can learn about those. But if you can find yourself a good circle, and personally, I think you find yourself a good circle, not talking about us two, as in, but I think you've got a good circle around you, right? And like you said, that you still have your struggles. I think we all have our struggles, but they're very manageable. Like to the point where if you got something in your mind, you can just share it now, innit? You know what I mean? You don't have to hold it in. And like 99% of the time, someone else has gone through what you've gone through.
We're all on the same journey at the end of the day, right? And we're all learning together.
And even though like I've got my younger brother, and in a lot of ways is very blessed, but there's certain things you can't share with your brother, innit?
Yeah, definitely.
So those sort of things, like when I wasn't in Sangat, and like especially when I was like, yo, did you take the wrong pill? And he completely didn't understand it. And it's like, yeah, I can't really, you know, he wicked guy, but he can't truly empathize with where I'm coming from, Hannah. So he's not the right person to talk to about it, which is fine. But like the point about Sangat, I'm very blessed that at home I've got, you know, mum, even my dad, and you know, because you know he's sometimes on it for Sikhi motives as well, and that's very blessed. He's not very anti it, so I see that as a blessing. And I've got my younger brother, so like on the point of Sangat at home, I've got good Sangat, I think, and then Singh's camp, and then a major turning point for me, I think, of actually having like regular Sangat was Dasera. This last one in November. I think it was the first time for me that I like went to a program daily, and I was looking forward to it.
Yeah,
that was the first time for me. I was like, yeah, it was just really good vibes and 100%. Energy. And then that's when I started spending more time with the man on your right, on Guard Singh, and like just these little things. So then I think when you're not in Sangha, the point about coasting, you can coast because you're only accountable to yourself, really. Even if someone try to tell me something, because he's my little brother, I was like, do that and then it. You can go. I'm gonna chill.
Yeah.
But when you're in Sangha, I think you're a bit more accountable. So it's like if there's like Santhia, or if there's a program, or if there's like we're gonna try go, you know, to Amrit Vela Diwan, you feel that responsibility, or that I don't know if it comes from like playing sports and stuff. I've always been big on sports, but that sort of team ethos I've always been quite big on. And I feel like if you're in Sangha, you're in a team.
Yeah.
So you want to push your weight. You don't want to you feel like you're letting people down, even though it's your own jeevan, you're doing it for you. I think Sangha, like it's helped me a lot in terms of not coasting.
Yeah.
So Singh's camp Sangat, yourselves, Babban Singh, like and everyone, like I think we've been really everyone that's like Santhia, and even like, you know, I think for me, I can cut this out if needed, but like Astarji, Gyang Singh, like before, for me, because I didn't know them, like you've had a different relationship, especially you guys, like you and Omkar Singh, because it's like you've known them from school, Hannah. For me, I just saw like this really serious Gursikh who doesn't speak much, and you've got to like be really careful. I was quite intimidated. But then when you actually spend time with these Gursikhs, it's like you just want to you want to chill with them even more because you realize even if you don't say anything, because sometimes I just want to talk, just listening, you absorb so much.
Yeah.
And just being in there, like there's just people in our sangha, like it's blessed, man.
And on that point of listening, so like I remember you told me a story once about the power of just listening, because a lot of the time nowadays we think we need to have the answer, we need to give advice to people. So what would you say on that then?
Well, so I'll tell the story first, and then hopefully Pastor Deep Singh can just talk about. Isn't there like a lot on just suniya, like just listening? There's so much on just Maharaj is talking about just for listening. But yeah, so for me, I got this from the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And when people ask me what prompted your change or what's changed your life, I'll always say Sikhi and 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I say is it not that they neck and neck or
no, but it was Bhai Jagraj Singh which recommended it, right?
So Bhai Jagraj Singh recommended this book in a basics video, and my younger brother ordered it, and then he recommended it to me. He's like, bro, like maybe you should. And I heard Bhai Jagraj Singh say in a talk. I think it's what can we do for the Panther? I think it was
the uni talk.
Maybe that one as well.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, cool, let me read this book. And at first I just watched a 5-minute trailer of it on YouTube, because I always used to do this, like, even with English literature, like in school. Instead of reading the book, I just listen to the summary.
This is a hack for school kids.
I wish I did that.
Life hacks, loopholes. I'm always looking for a loophole. So yeah, I watched a 5-minute video. And even just that 5-minute video was so powerful. The vichar, just the vichar in that 5-minute video, the gyan. I was like, man, I got to read this. And it was the first time, I haven't really read many books, but I read the book, each page I was turning, I was like, whoa, damn. Like, that's mad. Sort of similar, when I was talking about reading the English translation from the Good Cast, I was like, whoa.
Damn. Should we do part one and say damn?
Yo, that's me. Oh, yo, my mom does that. Oh, my dad's, and you get this sikya from it. And he talked about this very powerful quote. And I think especially, I don't know if maybe it's just everyone. I was going to say maybe it's a man thing, because I think Bande are definitely not this. We want to be solution orientated thinkers. We always want to come up with the solution, huh? And he says this line. He goes, sometimes, no, not even sometimes, all the time. Sometimes it's better. You have to not forget sometimes, or most of the times. He says, always try to diagnose the problem correctly before prescribing a solution. So maybe the analogy, so you can't start giving a dawai if you if I'm not a doctor, I can't prescribe, and you tell me an issue you're having maybe in your knee or whatever, I can't start prescribing you a dawai if I've not got the gyan about the actual problem. If I've not diagnosed the problem correctly, I can't give you a dawai, a medicine, huh? So he talks about diagnosing the problem correctly before prescribing a solution. And then he talks about the point of empathy. So sometimes when people come to us for advice, sometimes we can't even truly empathize with them unless we've been in their shoes. And now, if I can't empathize, now the situation you're talking about, my colleague, it was my manager, top guy. Don't think he'll listen to this, because I don't know if he knows about Boss TV. So that's how I know. Yeah, I think he's a top guy, because I don't need to do his stuff. He's not my manager anymore. But he had his partner had a miscarriage. And we found out, and we were all gutted for him, because obviously you have a new baby. He was so excited telling us about like the pram he's bought, what they've got planned, the name. It's a really, really sad situation. And when he came back to work, I was a bit like, damn, what am I going to say? Not to make it about me, because obviously it's not about me, that situation. It's about him. But in my head, I was thinking, what you don't want to say the wrong thing. That's big for me. When someone passes, or especially such a situation like that, you don't want to say the wrong thing. You don't want to say the wrong thing. And he came in, and luckily, I was so glad. I was reading this book, and I was like, I can't truly empathize with it. I think the worst thing you can say to someone who's gone through a dukkh or gone through something is, I understand, bro. I get it. How can I understand? I've not gone through a miscarriage. I've not got a partner who's gone through a miscarriage. I've not had a partner who's pregnant and we're waiting 8 months and looking forward to having a baby, and then saying, I had a miscarriage, and then say, I get you, bro. I don't get it. So luckily from reading that book, it's like, you can only empathize with people. You can try your best to empathize, even if you've not been in that situation. So you try your best to put yourselves in their shoes, but you can only truly empathize, in my opinion, if you've gone through what they've gone through. Hannah? So he went through that, and I was like, and I know people were saying, I get you, I understand. I get your pain. But I just said to him, so the first thing I said was, I said, Harry, I'm really, really sorry for what you've gone through. Because that's true, Hannah, that's not fake. Because people can see Pakande as well. Like, bro, I'm really sorry for what you've gone through. I said, look, I can't sit here and say I understand what you've gone through. I'm here for you. I get it. I said, I can't fathom what you've gone through. I can't even begin to fathom or grasp what you've been through. I said, but what I can do is I can listen. I said, if you just need to vent or you need to go, like you just want to get away from the computer if it gets a bit overwhelming and you don't even want to, because who wants to think about work when you've gone through that? I rated him. I think he came back quite soon, but I like, Jolo. So I said to him, if you just need time to just talk to someone, I said, I can listen. I can't start prescribing you solutions because I've not been through that. I can't truly diagnose what you've gone through. I can't say do this, do that, because I don't know what would help. I've not been through it. So sometimes the gun of just listening is massive. And he said to me, and then he said it to his manager as well. He said, look, he goes, that's the best thing someone said to me since I've come back. He said, for your age as well, not doing my own upma, but he goes, that's a very mature thing to say, a very mature outlook to have. He goes, and I really appreciate that. So sometimes, just like you said, I know I've made that long-winded answer, but just listening is massive. Like, we don't need to start telling people, bro, you need to do this, giving them upadesh, like, yo, you need to do this, especially if you can't truly empathize with that person. So sometimes we just need to, and I remember I had this as well. So I gave you guys this example that day when my Nanaji passed away. Very sad, and the circumstances in which he passed away was quite. It was an accident, Hannah. So no, I'm not saying that it's better if it's coming and you can you can prepare yourself for it, but because it was quite sudden, I think it affected us even more, Hannah. And I remember people saying like, yo, I'll get you, bro. Or like when people come to do a source, or when I was talking to one of my friends and I was like, yeah, my nana was like this. He had this impact on me. He's like, oh, I get it, bro, I get it. And I was like, bro, no, you don't need to get it. Just listen, innit? I was starting to get a bit annoyed. And then you just give up and you just don't talk about it because what's the point, innit? Because most of the dunya, they're not even listening to you. Then again, this is from the book as well. He goes, most people listen with the intent to reply, not the intent to understand. And that's massive, Hannah. Like you look at it in work meetings or whatever, when people do base with you or argue, you realize, like, especially these whatever debates you want to call it, so most of the time people aren't listening to you. They're just preparing what they're going to respond in their mind. So for me, that was a major learning for me in my life, because sometimes when people are going through like dukh with you, when they're trying to open up to you, just listen. They'll appreciate that more than anything. You don't need to give the dua.
Anji. I think just even, again, I know we're plugging the mindset says, but this is why it's so important. Massive. Because we can kind of learn these kind of skills, because there'll be a lot of people out there who maybe just want to learn a bit more about empathy, what people are going through, why they're struggling. And these kind of tools are very important, just the idea of listening, which I remember once years ago when we went on a mental health like training course or something, a part of the charity E13, just to learn more about this stuff because it's quite more predominant. And one thing that we learned there was that one of the key skills you can learn to help somebody is just listen. And it's that simple, right? The way I kind of look is that you got two ears and you got one mouth, right? So we're meant to be listening more than speaking, right? So I think that's very important. And very interestingly, I remember once we were having a lesson, right, a Santhia lesson, and I think afterwards, I don't know how this conversation came about, but you started talking to me about, I must have been stressed with work or something. And you said the same thing to me as well. Then I won't be able to fully empathize with doing parachar, because obviously I do parachar, but you don't in that respect. But you still listen at that time, and I really appreciate that as well, right? So he wasn't just one time Rohanvir Singh has done. He's done it quite a few times, I'm guessing, innit? So definitely that's a very great piece of gyan and knowledge sharing with everyone as well.
And maybe just to like wrap it up, and what would your final bit of advice be to someone who was in your shoes as like a munna, and then what steps could they take to go forward?
And also to add to that, even now, maybe like if they've come into Sikhi as well.
I don't want to just waffle on answers. I need to just think about it.
That's all right.
I think I think it depends. I don't like using the word stages, because then it suggests there's like a hierarchy, yeah. But let's just say maybe different timelines. As if you say like a horizontal journey, depending on your checkpoint where you are, it would depend, Anna. So if you're not even in Sangat at the moment, get into Sangat. If you're haven't got a consistent name or routine, get a consistent routine. Try building good habits, I think is the main thing I'd say. Unlearn bad habits, invest invest your time in Sikhi as much as you can. You get in Sangat. If you're not doing Santhia, learn Santhia 100%. There's so much, man. There's just so much.
What would you say specifically to someone having doubts?
Someone having doubts. Definitely get in Sangat, because when we've heard this in Qatar a lot, but when you look at Gursikhs when you're in the company of Gursikhs with a lot of prem, it makes you like, automatically you look at how much prem they have for Maharaj. You know, I want to have that much prem for Maharaj.
It rubs off on you, you know.
Yeah. And like I think that sort of holy that will dispel those doubts, isn't it? And again, just talking about using the bucket analogy, just keep filling clean water in your mind just to try to get rid of those doubts. And for what's helped me, definitely Sangat. And I definitely recommend a camp. To anyone who's not gone to a camp, obviously basics camps or Singh's camp, go to a camp. The Amazon Prime analogy, you don't have to become Amritari at the end of it. If you do, wicked. But then I feel for me, especially being someone who hasn't lived Sikhi before, camp's a great place to find out what Sikhi is, because a lot of us don't know what Sikhi is. We don't know what the routine, especially if you haven't got Gursikhs in your parivar or you haven't seen it, and definitely if you've not lived it, go to a camp, you see what a Gursikh lifestyle is like. And on Maharaj's Kirpa, I think most people come out of a camp and say, like, unless they're just saying it, they say I felt bliss there. I felt peace. I enjoyed it. So definitely, I couldn't recommend camps highly enough to people.
And what's quite interesting just there is that there's kind of what I feel is this misconception that people, when they from the outside, they think the hardest part about Sikhi is the routine, or like giving up something or keeping something.
Yeah.
But personally, I think the hardest part is the mind. So it's like the thoughts, it could be the doubts. So would you say the same thing? Because somebody may think, 3 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whatever time it is, they think that's the hardest thing about Sikhi. I'm not saying it's not hard, but when you look in the grand scheme of things, that stuff's quite chilling. It's the mind, I think, is the hardest thing.
I couldn't agree more. And I've had this, because I've actually had these conversations. So my older brother would say to me, because obviously I didn't go a meal without eating meat before, so like when he'd be munching away on his Nando's or mixed grill, I'd say, bro, not in like a temptation, bro, don't you miss this? Like, don't you find it hard? Like, we're just munching away. And I'm like, not really, bro.
Yeah.
Because like the Matrix, the steak analogy, you realise that stuff is minor. And I thought for me, keeping my gaze, when I was more than like, maybe we can get a picture up, I used to like, getting a fade, shaving, like looking fresh, yeah. So I thought, oh man, not getting a fade or,
you should save money.
Yeah, big time.
How much is a haircut?
Like £15, 20 quid.
15, 20
Yeah,
quid?
and then every couple of weeks.
I used to pay 5 quid or like 7, 10 pounds was like.
Yeah, but I've seen your haircut, I can tell that's why.
Oh, this guy's harsh, man. This guy's harsh.
No, but you think that's the hard part, and if you look at my old photos, like my daddy, even now, it doesn't really connect it. So I had little stash going on, and a little bit of a little
I've
bit
seen the picture as well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna 5 shots for that.
Yeah, no, you can. I probably deserve it actually after that. But I was like, bro, I'm not even going to be able to grow a daddy. I'm going to look weird with just like, just separate. So those thoughts, I thought that was going to be the hard part, getting over those, I'd say superficial things you can call them. But at the time, they are important to you, your aesthetics, your appearance, and, eating. And because I was, quite into gym, I was like, where am I going to get my protein from? But then you realize that stuff is minor. And anyone who thinks, they 100% they're important to me at the time as well, but you realize that's not even 5% of the struggle.
Not to scare anyone at the same time.
Yeah.
But just if you're at that hurdle right now, then realize that actually it's not what you'll get over it. We've all got over it, right?
But I think it's important to set that expectation, because I think for me that's one thing I wish people told me a bit more about. Not to put me off, but like in Anand Sahib it says it. This path is meant to be hard. But people say, yeah, but keep your hair, this is sick, like, it's amazing. And it is amazing.
Yeah.
But then when you have those doubts and you have those struggles, you think you're abnormal. You think you having these doubts and these struggles, you think you're the weird one, because you think it's meant to be sunshine and roses.
Yeah.
So I think setting that expectation that you will have struggles, you will have peaks and troughs. I think for me, I think it's important to set that expectation to people, so that then it won't hit them for 6. It won't surprise them when it actually happens. Like, oh man, I thought it was just meant to be bliss from here.
Yeah.
But it is hard. The path is hard.
It's normalizing it. Even if it was literally as soon as you took Amrit. I know people that as soon as took Amrit, that one thing I know, his kirpan fell off straight away. When he took Amrit, then he thought something bad happened to me. I'm not saying it's good, but at the same time, it's not bad. It's just your kirpan fell off. Do a japji side the part, do ardas. Do you get what I mean? Like these things happen, right? But we kind of build ourselves up and think very negative straight away, right? But like I said, that's why Sangat is so important, speaking to other people, because you realize that it's normal. This is normal about life. And it's just now you've got, very simply, now you got the Guru support. Now you're not representing yourself, you're representing Guru Gobind Singh Ji. And in the last moment, the Guru represent you and they'll take care of you.
Another piece of advice, I think you gave this to me, as you said this to me, and it's so true. If you truly want it and you truly want to live this path, do ardas every day. Get Maharaj, like, if it's for case or just Gursikh Gun, or like just, you know, if it's to wake up Amrit Vela or Santhia Abhyas, like, because it is all in Maharaj's hands, Hana? And when you try and get that acceptance out, at the start of the journey, you do need to, you need to practically try. They're funny. We can take this out if needed. But a funny thing is, I wanted to start trying to wake up Amrit Vela, Hana? I used to try these tricks, you know. So I'd put my phone on the other side of the room. But then I have to physically get up and turn off my phone, and then I'm up. Once I'm up. And that didn't work.
Yeah.
I turn it off and go straight back into bed.
I know a mate put in the bathroom. He goes, I went in the bathroom, turned it off, and went back to sleep.
Yeah. I did another thing. Because then I was like, I've got my phone, my personal phone, I've got my work phone. So I said, right, I'll put my work phone on one side of the room. I'll put my mobile phone like just on the other side. And then that way I've got 2 alarms to turn off. Yeah. But then what I would do is I'd get the work phone alarm would be after the personal phone alarm. I'd get my personal phone, turn off the first alarm. Then I'd keep it on me. Then when the work alarm would go on, I'd call my work phone so I don't need to get up. So I don't need to I can just turn it off in bed. So then the point I'm trying to say is sometimes we think, like, I can do it. But it's Maharaj, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you want to start, or when having the itcha and the pyas is important, but then you realize when you do wake up, sometimes Maharaj just wakes you up. You don't even wake up without you wake up without the alarm.
Yeah.
Then you just realize that when you do ardas every day, Maharaj, please, wake me up. I'm proper struggling. Then it's in his hands, huh? So definitely 100%. Do. If you're talking about advice, definitely do ardas or whatever it is. If it's Amrit Vela, increasing your nickname. A really good point you said in a katha that I really liked is sometimes we would talk to people about increasing your name, but what about increasing your prem? And increasing your prem can be quite a hard thing to do, huh?
100%.
So I think those would be my advice. And another quote from the book, actually, 7 Habits. He says, to learn and not to do is not really to learn. And this is quite prevalent in Sikhi, I think, as well. We read a nickname every day, but we don't implement what Maharaj is saying every day, huh? And so we've not really learnt then. Gaviya Sunniya Marakhi. We haven't manned it, so we've not really learnt. So don't just take these Sakya and things as that's a nice story. Actually live it. And like going back to we feel a lot of people, even if you're Mona, you feel the dard and the pain of like what's happened to Gursikhs in India in '84. Like those Shaheeds, they died for Sikhi that we don't even live for. These things are deep, man. So don't just like learn or like listen to these things. Because to learn and not to do is not really to learn. So learn it and act on it. And another analogy, I'll just if we run, I don't even know what the time is, but if we run a short of time, but because I really wanted to mention this one, it's from a Bhai Jagraj Singh Katha. And we mentioned it at Street Prachar on Sunday, and it's a really deep one. This was when I was Monna and I heard this, and I decided to keep my gaze, and this is when I started implementing, we're talking about good habits. So even when I was walking to uni, I'd listen to a Katha, Hana? And Bhai Jagraj Singh said, anyone here, anyone, not even if you're not Gursikh, well, probably if you're Sikh, actually, you need to be from a Sikh background from this analogy. If your father had written you letters talking about his jivan, his travels, what type of person he wrote all these letters for you to read when you were born, but he passed away before you were born, and your mum gave you these letters saying, Pot, your dad wrote all this stuff for you. How many angs in Guru Granth Sahib Ji?
1,430.
1,430. He's written you 1,430 letters. Yeah, because he's of talking about his life, his experience, what type of person he was. Each and every one of us would read those, I think. We'd want to know what our parent was like, huh?
Mm.
If we didn't meet them, we didn't know who they are. I think I would. I'd like to think I would. But Maharaj is our supreme father, our real father, huh? But how many of us have done a Sej part or like, listen to a whole Akhand part? Or like that Gursik from Canada who came on a basics video. When he was Monna, he said he used to read the English transliteration of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and then, that inspired him to keep his kids. So we can't even use the pun. Some people can use the excuse, or I would probably you would use the excuse, oh, but I can't read Guru Mukhi, so I can't read Guru Granth Sahib Ji. It's available in English. So, let's get to know our Guru, huh? Let's get to know them, yeah.
Right, Guru. I think that's a great way to finish off this podcast.
Thanks so much for sharing.
Really, really good podcast. Really enjoyed it. I think we could go for longer. I think it's been about 2 hours we've been speaking for.
Is it?
But hopefully, Guru Kirpa Karan bless you to continue this path of Sikhi.
Yeah,
and
pray for man, innit?
And pray for man. Make a t-shirt, pray for Rohanvir.
Yeah.
But also, hopefully in the future, we could have you on again. I'm sure we have a lot of questions in the comment section. So for those who have any questions, anything that you could feel like you relate to with the life of Rohanvir Singh, then please do share that as well.
I made that the title. Life of Rohanvir Singh.
Life of Rohanvir Singh. But no, definitely. And then any questions that you have, because I'm sure people appreciate you coming on again in the future and maybe sharing more of your experiences. Because I know you sent me a whole list of things we could talk about. I'm sure we didn't cover all of them. But just even this whole seven habits book that you talked about as well, I'm sure a lot of people are intrigued about that. And I'm sure you've got a lot of other books they might have read that you might want to share. So thank you so much for coming on and for your time.
I enjoyed this. It was nice.
VG, anything from you?
No, it's all good. Appreciate it.
We finished.
Can I end on one last thing actually?
Definitely.
So I've spent a bit more time with you guys in the past, I'd say a few months, and I think being someone who's an advocate of basics of Sikhi, or someone who's supported the channel and it's been an integral part of their journey, I've always watched the videos, and for me, you see the output, but unless you spend time with you guys, you don't see the input. So the only thing I'd say to viewers and supporters of the channel, don't just we just see the output. I think we take it for granted. So don't just watch the videos, support. I thought for me, listening to Bhai Jagraj Singh's katha, I felt like the duty to because you hear it, the prem in his voice in each of the kathas, that please bring your family, bring your friends on a Sunday. So if you're from local area, at the least we can do to support is come on a Sunday. Set up a standing order, set up a direct debit, help the channel, huh? If I'm very passionate. I never met. It's weird. I've never met Bhai Jagraj Singh. Never met them. But no one. I just feel like there's not many people in my life who have had as much of an impact on my life. Which is such a weird thing to say, huh? But they were massive in my Sikhi. So yeah, support the channel. If we see this as their legacy, it's our duty to continue that legacy. I feel, huh? So support the charity, donate, attend events, bring your friends, bring your family.
Thank you, G. We finish off there.
Yeah.
Please give any mistakes that we made. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa,
Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.